Reboot, I'm cold red, my service automated, like data running through my veins. Got you distracted, subconscious overloaded. Careful, don't pull the cord on me. No time to stay around. Keep walking till you get out of my face. Regrets, restricted access. I'm just a flight to get up in your. We love is charging. I can't waste my time with someone slowing me down, 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 down. So high, I'm floating. I'm shining in my prime. Start rolling over 'cause you can't take my crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. My crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. Rewind my circuits, but you don't get that courage, 'cause you can handle my game. No, my drive's a puzzle. I got you so bumfuzzled, 'cause you can fall into my pain. No time to stay around. Keep walking till you get out of my face. Regrets, restricted access. I'm just a flight to get up in your. We love is charging. I can't waste my time with someone slowing me down, 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 down. So high, I'm floating. I'm shining in my prime. Start rolling over 'cause you can't take my crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. My crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. I won't waste my love on your heart. Sorry, 'cause I can't get what I want, and I don't need you. It's charging. I can't waste my time with someone slowing me down, 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 down. So high, I'm floating. I'm shining in my prime. Start rolling over 'cause you can't take my crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. My crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Zippy, Trinsic, how are you guys? Melly.
All right, I should know
You,
this.
you,
'cause
you,
I
I
had
thought you
to-
were gonna change their name to Oregon, like underneath.
Look, I did this like in 5 minutes before we started. I didn't have time to get fancy with it.
Oh, it actually just says Morgan's name. Okay,
Yeah.
I see how it is.
Listen,
That's what I'm saying.
if we had, anticipated this and done this and, pre-did some stuff, I would have been able to do it. But not 5 minutes before the cast.
We're just playing. Trev, it looks great. It looks great.
Yeah.
It does look really good, yeah. The
Yeah, I know.
What? It's like the lady from
Okay,
Harry
so
Potter.
apparently Tony reads titles, because I didn't think anyone was gonna point out
Yeah, I
the
believe
fact that
Trev
they weren't
actually actual
6
Trev
foot around.
quotes from before the podcast. Nobody reads titles. Yeah.
And then the first thing
Um,
Tony does is call out the title.
So yeah, I guess we should.
Trev, I'm a card game player.
You're right,
course
that's
I-
true.
So for those of you who are not aware, I think we should address why two of the hosts are on the one camera now, and they're not ordinarily. I came down to America before the border closed. The border is now closed, and
Which may have been his undoing, because
The,
now
now
he's
he's
trapped.
I can, in theory, get back to Canada, but getting back to where I live in Canada is the difficult part. What with the having to stay away from people and all that. So I've extended my stay in America here by a few weeks. So I'm going to be here for about 3 more weeks.
And then-
Rory
Rory now a
now-
refugee.
In a couple of weeks, you're gonna see the hashtag Rory get your citizenship, or something about citizenship in Rory, and be like, all right, well, he's American now.
Well, okay, so there's a lot going on.
Yes.
So
the
A lot going on.
this is probably going to be the one news related thing you watch that isn't entirely just about COVID.
Yes. That is also true as well.
The
We may still end up talking about it, but like briefly, because like I'm sure everyone's been through. Because the amount of times I've seen all these other people on streams, like they've talked about it at some point in time. So it's like,
make a charity
We
commercial.
all know it's happening.
yeah,
It's a thing.
Everybody does, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Except for Jared Leto, apparently, for a little while, because apparently they were in isolation doing some kind of filming thing, and he got back here, and he was like, yeah, I didn't know what was going on.
that sounds like a
Yeah.
plot to like a zombie thing where it's like you're
Can
like
you imagine?
like the Walking Dead opening, like he just comes out of a hospital.
Yeah.
like, why
exactly.
are all these zombies
Yeah, that's,
here?
that's a really good point, actually. Yeah.
Hanging with the Brovids. No, we're not changing the title.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, Tony.
So obviously we've all been sort of. I think all of us here in this group, at least, have been rather vigilant about the staying indoors and all that,
Yes.
whether through our own self-discipline or mandated by law.
I feel like no matter what was going on, we would have been
Sorry.
indoors anyway.
Yeah,
let's be real.
I mean, yeah.
We're
Yeah,
all,
I
we're all
think that's
Twitch
very true.
people, so I imagine the whole
Yep.
going outside thing is not very.
Well,
Like,
yeah, when I get
now
back to
gaming-
Canada,
It's now a gamer's world now.
Yeah,
it really is.
we are in
When-
charge.
In Canada, though, I'll have a 14-day self-quarantine when I get back, which I'm like, okay, like, no problem. Like, I'll just get food delivered and I'll catch up on my backlog.
Oh my
of
god,
games.
look. There's an Untitled Goose Game one. I love that.
Yes.
So being indoors and whatnot, like Morgan's been playing, I know, Animal Crossing, and I've been playing a bit of Pokemon, and this week on stream, or next week on stream, I'll be playing Origami and Outer Worlds. What have you guys been playing since you've been?
Wait, what is origami?
It's a stealth game. It's kind of
Oh.
like Dishonored in that you're a guy, but you have powers.
I thought it was gonna be
How do
like.
you spell this?
Aragami.
I thought you were saying it's like origami, so like you were just doing origami like on the like how it's like PC part
Yeah.
or like
Oh,
PC
right, yeah,
Builder,
yeah.
but like
I
with
thought you were
origami
PC Builder, yeah.
online.
Wait, so tell me, so you're saying it's like a Dishonored style?
So, yes, third person stealth game with powers. I've never played through it. I've seen gameplay of it, and I thought this would be a good time to play through a new stealth game because, as you know, my stream, I've been trying to get back into stealth games after my long sort of extended vacation with Skyrim.
So what do you think of it so far? Like, how far into it are you?
I have not started. I started on
Oh,
Tuesday.
you haven't started it. Okay.
Yeah. I've seen gameplay though. It looks. Oh, good God. Okay, hold on. I'm temporarily not hearing you. But it looks quite good. And so hopefully, I guess that when we come back next week, I'll be able to tell you a little bit more about it. What about you, Melly? What have you been playing lately?
Honestly, I've been playing all kinds of games. On stream, I've been kind of changing it up a lot. I started Dark Souls 3 on Friday.
Okay. Yeah.
Which Morgan gifted me a while back. So yeah, I started that. It's I'm really enjoying it so far. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the first 2 or 3 hours of playing Bloodborne, in which I was just like a little overwhelmed, just trying to get used to the combat and figure out where I'm supposed to go, kind of figure out what I'm doing. But I really like the environment's really cool. In some ways, it seems like easier than Bloodborne. Like, so I'm enjoying it so far. I've also started Code Veronica, Resident Evil Code Veronica.
Well, I just threw them up. I didn't know what order they were going to be in. All right.
Hey Tom. Yeah, I started Code Veronica, which has been really
Yeah, I saw
interesting.
some of it.
Yeah, it's been
Can you hear my
interesting.
dog barking? Sorry.
Getting used to the tank controls was a little challenging. So
Yes.
Yeah, when was the last time you did tank controls was Resident Evil 1, right?
right, but even in Resident Evil 1, because it's been like redone, it's more fluid. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
took me a lot. Like it was pretty easy to adjust to that. Like what was odd about the Resident Evil 1 was more about like the fixed camera angles.
Mhm.
But like I can't use.
You're getting
the
called out
left
by
and-
Ash here. Just in
What was
the-
that?
It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
use
you
it.
can-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's more
but
fluid,
You
yeah.
can choose to play it in tank. The
Mhm.
only section in which I play Resident Evil 1 in tank was like at when you have to carry that explosive thing, and I was like, it just felt safer. To
Oh wait, so you can switch freely between? It's not like
Yeah, I didn't.
You have
I
to
didn't
choose
use tank
one and,
controls
like,
when
do
I
it the
played
entire
Resident
way.
Evil 1.
Okay.
Well, I actually have friends who like when like Resident Evil 2 remake came out and it was played on Twitch and whatnot. I was like, maybe you should give it a shot, you know. And they were like, they wouldn't try it because they had all played Resident Evil 1 back in the day with tank controls, and it left them
Yeah.
so scarred that the name Resident Evil, it didn't matter what the controls were. They're like, I'm not
they're
going
like
near it.
forever.
I've never
Like
touched
no,
it.
never.
Like,
Like done.
yeah. It was highly bothersome.
Tater.
to-
Yeah, there's one section in Resident Evil 1 where I feel like it's more advantageous to use it. So I used like the D-pad and used the tank controls for that one section because it's like it's like when you have to carry like an explosive material through like a area and it just felt
Yeah,
a lot
you couldn't
safer.
run, right? I remember
Yeah,
that.
you can't run. So I was afraid that if I used the joystick, I was gonna start running. Where where if you use the tank controls, like it's guaranteed. Yeah, because if you run and you move too fast and bump into something, then you explode. So, no sugar uses. What did I even say?
You know what's funny about the tank controls? That's kind of like the complete opposite of DMC. Because like in DMC they have turbo mode, which makes everything 30% faster,
Oh,
and that's a
yeah.
setting that like goes on and
Yeah.
off and affects your gameplay.
Oh gosh.
The Sai has been playing some Stellaris. I do not know much about the game, but I have a friend who really got into it. I know there's a lot of DLCs and a lot of mods for it, but it's supposed to be a very respectable strategy game. But Zippy raised a point here that he's been trying to play a certain version of it, and one of the things I've heard in the feedback and reviews for Stellaris was that it, like, some players really like certain versions and really dislike other versions of it. Like, I guess the patching has been rather intense.
I think Stellaris was free, like recently, or like it was on sale or something. Because I
It
remember
was,
seeing
yeah, it was
something
on
about
sale. I definitely saw that it was having I think it was a Steam sale. And also I should, while it's still for the next 5 days, GOG is having their spring sale. So if you guys want to get some really, really cheap, really good DRM free games, obviously, like the number one thing most people purchase on GOG is The Witcher.
it. Yes.
But
I was gonna say Gwen.
there's- there's that too, yeah.
Well, Gwen's
um,
free, so.
But there's quite a lot right now that you can pick up for very, very cheap. Lots of they have a lot of classic RPGs, things like Baldur's Gate and Arx Fatalis, and you can also get Bioshock. Get Bioshock, by the way, if you've not played.
I feel like
it.
these are all games Travis enjoys. Because like all the
They
time
are,
he's talking about games, like it's everything you just listed off GOG.
Yeah, no, yeah. Travis prefers GOG.
You bought it and then you returned it.
Wow.
Oh wait, so I'm curious why. I'm always curious about that.
So Sai says that Paradox games are big DLC tie-ins, which like I feel like isn't a bad thing if you do it correctly. But if you're making them pay for
Yeah.
DLC like every time and like you have to use the DLC, then it's like you're just being EA of like DLC.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point. Like, because like DLC is fine, you know, like because you don't have to buy DLC if you don't want to, you know. But if it makes a game feel more complete, I don't always agree with it because I feel like, you I feel like that should have probably just been something that should have just been in the main game in the first place.
I agree 100%. My favorite saying is the best kind of DLC is the kind you don't need, but like it would be a strictly additive experience for your game. I think Capcom has received quite good praise about their DLC, especially in more recent times, like post Street Fighter V launch.
Well, for Monster Hunter World, they said that all their DLC. Well, they had one expansion that was to pay for it, but that was because it was essentially doubling the game.
Yeah, it's an actual expansion. Yeah,
it's a proper
Resident Evil 7 DLC. I feel like. I mean, I didn't play it. Melly definitely did, so she could probably comment a little bit better than I could. But how do you feel about it?
I thought it was amazing. I thought it was like it was a good expansion. It was a good it gave more backstory to some of the side characters and the main characters.
I'll be back in a second, guys.
Why are you typing
really
plus
well
in chat?
Executed. Even like the mode, like the blackjack mode, I thought that was kind of like a fun, very twisted take on blackjack in a way that kind of.
Oh, that was DLC, the blackjack thing.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think it was. But yeah, I liked, of course, like the Chris Redfield DLC. It was really fun. So I don't know. I like. What would you say when you pay $20 and you get like half campaign, 5 to 6 multiplayer?
Rory, plus is the unmute, because me and Morgan have the same keybind for mute and mute, or mute and unmute.
And like Bloodborne, I thought the DLC. Honestly, I thought the bosses in that were the best.
I actually have a question about Bloodborne. For Trev, actually, in this particular case. So what Melly said about Dark Souls 3 being like a little like Bloodborne, like, do the Dark Souls games, as you play them further, get more and more like Bloodborne as you get closer to it?
So I've only played 2 of the 3. The first one was its own kind of like game its own, because it was obviously the first FromSoft game. And then
muting so we wouldn't make noise.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, guys.
The only reason that Dark Souls 3 is the most like Bloodborne is because Bloodborne came out before it, and they used the engine and a lot of like inspiration from Bloodborne. Because like in Dark Souls 1, you're a lot slower, but in 3, you can move pretty fast. It's more closer to the pace of Bloodborne.
By the way, Zippy says Melly is lower than the rest of us, so Trev, could you turn Melly up on your end?
I can do that?
Yeah, because it's capturing your thing.
Yeah, since
so
it'll be your Discord.
If you turn Melly up, then you'll be good.
Your impatience kept you from really trying to get good at them, never really got into them. I mean, honestly, that's where I feel like streaming has affected
I'm gonna exit this real fast.
My own gameplay, because I don't know if I would have finished or even attempted Bloodborne without streaming. Because I actually really enjoy games like that now that challenge me as a gamer, but then I can also like rely on chat for like tips, advice, and then like, you know, Trevor came in and helped me with my second playthrough. So I don't know. I understand that, because I don't think I would have beaten Bloodborne without like the interactive nature of streaming it.
Yeah. I really enjoyed watching you stream that game, actually, and I'll be looking forward to. I'm assuming like Dark Souls is regularly. You'll be doing that on Fridays, right? Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm quite looking forward.
We're taking a break from Diablo. We were doing Diablo on Fridays, but we zagged into Dark Souls.
Yeah. The Tony, I want to say what Tony said. Generally, fighting game DLC is high quality. I actually generally agree with that. The thing about fighting games is when a fighting game releases a new character, that has the potential to become your main character. So if that becomes your main character,
like
you can sink hundreds of hours into it.
In Soul Calibur.
2B in Soul Calibur 6, who I play in Soul Calibur 6, who's a DLC character.
And the next Soul Calibur, Horror's gonna be fucked. And be like, shit, unless they bring back 2B.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to learn someone else, not Ivy, who is impossible to play. But I one thing I will say, like, of course, Tony, we did talk about last week. We talked about the Dead or Alive case, which is already on season 4 somehow. Even though they only came out last year, and all the DLC like season passes are all like around what in American dollars, probably about 75 American dollars,
That's a lot.
which is
yeah.
wild if you think about spending all that money on the one the one game. Like, oof.
But I feel like fighting DLC is like at a different. It's kind of like its own like genre of DLC because it's not really like it adds to the game, but not a whole lot. Like it only adds enough to where if the people play that person or if like that person becomes like broken or whatever. So,
Yeah,
like,
Tony.
you only see them if it's like strong or whatever. It's not really like everyone just doing it.
I think we had actually talked about that on
he has
the
to
last
change the
podcast.
hair
I want
color.
to
I think we did. Yeah, we had a
because just to reiterate, guys, like for those of you who weren't here, in Dead or Alive now, you can get these. They're like tokens that you buy, and they're $1.99. You get 2 tokens. That's the only way that you can get them is in 2s. So you have to pay $2 for them. And if you want to change your character's hair color, you have to use one of those tokens, $2, and then if you don't like it and you want to change it back, you have to use one more of those tokens. And from what I've heard so far, people are freaking out so much about it that I guess who was not Konami, Koei Tecmo.
Koei Tecmo. Yeah.
Koei Tecmo are like rethinking like what they're gonna do with that now, because somebody had like
They
put it in
should
perspective.
rethink
They're
it.
like, yeah, so like what happens if like our games like crash or something and we can't like and we have to switch like everything back because we don't get to keep those hair colors. And it basically said that they were going to have to re-buy all of them again if they had a whole bunch of customization, and people were like, nope, nah.
Yeah,
oh my
that's a
God.
big EA move.
Cosmetic upgrades.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
That's
like what the heck?
That's the equivalent to when Battlefront 2 first
Yep.
came out, and they were like, "Oh, you get whatever. You said to get more loot boxes." I'm like, what? It's like, how is
Yeah,
that
and they
your
didn't want
answer?
certain cosmetic items because they said it was lore breaking. They were like, you can't have pink Darth Vader, it's lore breaking. It's like, it's a multiplayer game. No one cares about the lore. It's like Yoda.
And like,
can
if that's
fight,
your
I don't know,
first
Darth
experience
Plagueis
with
or
Darth
whatever.
Vader, you're not caring about the lore anyway.
I
Like,
mean, is
Yeah,
that supposed,
literally.
does that have to do with like how strict Star Wars is about canon? Does that have to? Is that like? Does that?
I think it was more EA than
I
it was
honestly
like.
think they were making an excuse. It was EA
I
making an
honestly do
excuse.
think it was an
The,
excuse
because I don't think they care about lore.
No, they don't.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
They threw it all out
They-
the window. when
They wouldn't have
found it
Legends
inconvenient.
continuity or what is the other one? There's Legends continuity and then there's canon. They wouldn't have
Yeah.
two different versions
Yeah.
if they cared about lore.
Well, yeah, because it wouldn't make sense for like certain characters to be fighting with each other, like when they would never meet, or they're not like from the same canon, really. So like, but you can play all those characters still in the multiplayer, so it's definitely not because of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
exactly.
I'm pretty sure you can have like General Grievous fight Luke Skywalker, and I'm like,
Yeah,
all
I
right,
think I
one,
remember like Palpatine, like being,
so
like,
much time
Rey-
has elapsed.
like Rey fighting Darth Vader or something like that.
Yeah. Or like I do not think that you can play as Anakin Skywalker in the in Star Wars Battlefront 2. I don't think they have Anakin as a character.
Yeah. Like you can't
but-
have Anakin play fight.
Yeah, like, but if there was Anakin Skywalker, it's like, are you gonna have Anakin Skywalker fighting like in multiplayer? Because it's not like they're gonna say, sorry, you can't play as this character because
Because this
somebody else
person
is
is this
playing Darth
person."
Vader,
It's like, what?
and it'd be a little weird because they're both technically the same character. It's not like they wouldn't do that, you know.
Technically,
And
Anakin is at war with Darth Vader in the entire.
he's at war with
Revenge of
himself.
the
It is a
true,
mentality
yeah.
thing. It
That's
technically
what that
is.
is.
If you watch the Clone Wars, well, I won't say much, but there's a arc where it focuses on that specifically.
That really opens up the realm of having the possibilities of having the great match of titans in Star Wars: Kylo Ren versus Adam Driver. That's the one I'm really hoping to play in.
I would watch. Oh yeah, that would be so much fun.
That was someone's fault.
Yeah. Oh, Spanish. Hey.
Spanish.
You could have baby Jake Lloyd,
Les
Anakin
Young
versus-
93, thank you.
Oh, versus Hayden Christensen,
Yeah.
Anakin.
Oh
Oh,
my
I
God.
love this
Now
idea.
this is pod racing. Yeah.
And Zippy does have a point. The Star Wars universe, like Legends canon, was pretty poorly unified as far as canons go, like prior. So if there's one thing Disney did, I suppose it was made things simpler for new projects.
So like,
Zippy, that's like the perfect analogy.
I was like a
I
real
appreciate it.
big fan of Star Wars when I was younger, and like I know a lot about both, but I often get mixed up and confused with both canon.
Hey,
it's
Lissa.
Lissa!
How are you, Lissa?
So like
And
I'll
hello,
say
Lissa's
something,
people.
and then they'll be like, "Oh, it's that's actually canon, not Legends." I was like, "Fuck."
You remembered. Nice. I always forgot. Guys, if you don't know our friend Lissa, she's a wonderful streamer. Please go follow her. She plays a variety of things. We've seen her play Animal Crossing, Ark, Overwatch.
She actually played with us last time.
Yeah, she played Overwatch
Yeah.
with us on this very show. Lissa's people, if you don't know us, we're a podcast of sorts. And every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern, exactly 7:30 Eastern, we've never
Exactly,
once
we are
changed
never
the time.
late.
Exactly.
You're never late.
We
Oh, please.
we come on here and we talk about like the latest news in gaming and entertainment, but on occasion we do sort of gaming sessions and stuff like that. We'll play Overwatch or I think we've only done Overwatch and Monster Hunter
Yes.
previously on this.
Well,
I think it's the only thing the four of us own.
Eventually, we're gonna play whatchamacallit
Division
at
2.
one point.
Mostly we just watch
Oh,
more
Division
Vegeta.
2. I was just about
Yeah.
to say, I was like, what game did we peer pressure Melly into buying? In
Well,
Division?
you peer pressured because that was your life
It was only
goal in
$3.
2020.
Yeah.
It's
I
less
did a-
than the cost of a Chipotle burrito.
I did a very good job of my
New Year's resolution.
my New Year's resolution to peer pressure people more. Also, hi Liz, how are you?
This intrigues me. Great
Mostly
Britain.
we just
Canadian
watch
peer
more
said
pressure
Disney
is
on
so
camera.
polite, though. It doesn't feel like
It's Canadian peer
It
pressure.
just seems like a polite suggestion.
It's like, hey, you should get this game. Smile. I'm like, what? It's like, all right, sure.
Hi, Great Britain.
But yeah, welcome everybody. I'm so glad you were playing Animal Crossing.
Oh,
I
while we're on that subject, I was.
yeah.
I can't remember who I was talking to, but I'm pretty sure it was either Roy Morgan or I was calling the list or something. But I said that Animal Crossing is going to be the new like Witcher of Twitch, because like
He did
everybody
use
and their
that.
mother was playing Witcher because the
Mm.
show came out, but now everybody
Yeah,
and
yeah.
their mother's going to
They
start
did.
playing Animal Crossing, and I was
Yeah,
like,
it was
I,
us. You were
I need
talking
to
to us
find
the other
different
night, yeah.
channels. I need to specifically look for the channels that aren't playing it.
So
You know
the-
what's so oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say the ones that aren't playing it are playing Doom Eternal. So you've got two choices,
Yep.
just to be
You
sure.
know, it's so funny you said that. So I saw this really funny tweet the other day. It was like, what are you playing right now? It's like either Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing, or still Breath of the Wild. And I retweeted it and said Breath of the Wild because I actually picked that up again because I still haven't finished it, even though it's like what a
No.
4-year-old game.
It's so
3 or
good.
4-year-old game. I've been playing it like before I go to bed, just kind of like.
Yay!
Is
What
the game
are you
really
at?
3 to 4 years old?
It came
Yeah, I
out
don't know.
2017.
Yeah,
so
2017.
Yeah.
That's right.
Years.
Yeah, that was a good
Um,
year, as I recall.
I'm so early into it. I just got to the part where it's Hateno Village, where you have like I just started the quest where you have to find the 4 beasts. So I'm very early.
I've
in.
seen that game played through, I think, 3 different times. I don't remember anything about it. I think the only thing I remember is that you can use a parachute.
Yeah, that's
paraglider.
The
Yeah,
paraglider.
something,
I got
something
that.
like that.
I'm on the fence if I'm going to stream it though. I just been enjoying it, like kind of just playing it here or there. So
Oh, interesting. Bleeze wants to change the name.
Oh, so like
yeah,
Animal
no,
Cross.
I have that
Oh.
same
I
problem.
keep thinking it's
Wh-
Assassin's.
when
like,
someone
literally,
says
I got
AC,
so
I'm
excited
like,
'cause I thought
Assassin's
Morgan was
Creed?
playing- I thought Morgan was playing Assassin's Creed. I got so excited.
Oh.
Can
Oh my god, Morgan's playing Assassin's Creed. I'm like, just kidding, it's Animal
I
Crossing.
have to take a moment to appreciate what Sai has done here because so earlier, I don't know if you guys saw, but Sai and Zippy were talking about EU4, a game they've both sunk probably well over 1,000 hours into. And now Sai mentioned RimWorld, which I know for a fact is Bleeze's basically favorite game. In that Bleeze never stops playing it, I've noticed.
I don't even know what RimWorld
is amazing in all caps. I've met Bleeze, by the way. Me and Bleeze have shared, a meal together in real life, and I will say he's never said anything in all caps verbally until just now. I imagine he's sort of screaming through
That's
the
high
monitor.
praise. That's
They-
high praise.
Hi, Rory.
You've watched RimWorld, but have you played it? Or is it just a game that you've enjoyed watching?
can't seem to get into playing it. Interesting.
I feel like usually it's the opposite. It's like you can find yourself enjoying games, but when it comes to watching it, it's like because like I feel that way
some
about
games
a
are
lot of
tough,
games.
Yeah, some games are tough to stream. I've learned, and like one of the reasons I'm getting back into streaming stealth games is not just because I'm eager to play more stealth games. It's because I'm running out of like advice to give about alchemy and Skyrim.
You're like, yeah, so you mix
So what's
these
it
and
for
you
you?
get
For
this,
you,
and
has
then it's
Skyrim
like,
been challenging to stream?
At first it was so easy because I have so much accumulated knowledge over the years of Skyrim. But like lately, I found it much harder.
That game's been out since what, 2011, right?
2011. It came out 11/11/11,
And
right?
I guarantee you, everybody who's played it from that time has played it every time it's been released or re-released.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I myself played it on console. and
Aggressive
PC.
nerd.
So I'm like, well, there's only so much left to say about this. Like,
Yeah.
at least with a new game, a new stealth game, I can be experiencing it fresh, like with the people watching the stream.
Like the two things I've taken away from Rory's alchemy thing is you need Death Spell for almost everything. A flawless ruby in his file only is like the hardest thing to come by.
Yeah, the flawless ruby. For those who don't know the lore, I've been trying to find a flawless ruby to complete Periite's quest, the only cure, and
find
it's impossible.
every other
It's not
gem.
possible. I found every other flawless gem too. There's flawless garnets all over the damn place, but there's not a flawless ruby in sight. Yeah, Zippy. Yeah, Zippy's been there like the whole time. It is. We've streamed that game
It's
for like
elusive.
60 hours.
It's the
and
new
we
meme,
still
it's just
haven't found
like-
a flawless
Is there a
ruby.
chance that it's just been glitched out of your game?
That's
Like,
what I said.
Oh, there's
I
always
told
a
him.
chance with Todd. Nothing's off the table when Todd's in charge.
I went into his chat and I was like, just console command spawn in this flawless ruby. I was like, it's gonna save you that much more of a like headache.
This is like trying to find the Raytheon mantles in
Yes.
Monster.
Wolf, you've never
Oh,
played
man.
Skyrim? Oh wow. It's so rare now. You know, it's pretty much just you and Melly left. This has been out for so long.
One day I'll rotate back into like a fantasy game. I needed a break from fantasy after
Wait.
Oh, Witcher
Six
3.
Their
months.
name
Witcher
their name is Wolf the Adventurer, but that's like a Skyrim reference kind of. It's like I used to be an adventurer like yourself. Then I took an arrow to the knee.
Well, it's funny as I almost thought for a second it might have been a Skyrim reference. Actually, they
Oh,
Bethesda
Bethesda.
games.
Yeah.
yeah.
So one thing I wanted to mention, not to like bring things like down by talking about what's going on right now, but it's so interesting to me that there's so many people that like, you know, having to stay home right now. They're like, what do I do? Like, I don't like just sitting at home and watching Netflix or whatever. Like, I want to go out. And there's a lot of people that just don't really understand like how you can just stay inside, you know, and like play a game or something. And I find it very interesting because the other day, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe a week or two ago now, but 20 million people were on Steam at the same time the other day, which is like a world record for people being on Steam.
And then you said it was like 1 million people were playing CS:GO or something like that.
1
Or like,
million
like-
people at a time were playing Counter-Strike, which is so incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
But it's quite an interesting time right now for gamers, I think, because there's so many people now that are gaming that wouldn't really have called themselves gamers, because now they're just like, I'm trying to figure out what to do at home. So many people have like PCs or at least laptops or something, so they're turning on Steam and just seeing if they can play anything.
Well, Morgan, you'd appreciate this. So a girlfriend of mine, not a gamer at all, she texted me about last
Mikey
week,
Payne, thank you for the follow.
and she said, the text was like, tell me about Animal Crossing. And I was like, okay, I'm the wrong person to ask about this because I don't know much about it. But I was like, what do you want to know? And she's like, well, how do I play it? And I was like, okay, so I was like, you need either a Switch or a light, Switch Lite. So what happened is like she had a bunch of her friends that all bought Animal Crossing and are super into it. And now with us like kind of being under quarantine, she's like, I want to play with my friends, but I don't know how to even play this game. So I was like literally explaining Nintendo to her over text. I'm trying to help her decide like, should you get the console? Should you get the Switch Lite? And so she ended up dropping $300, got the Switch, and then got Animal Crossing because she's like, I'm bored out of my mind. I just want to hang out with my friends and play this game that they're talking about. So yeah, she just got it. It arrived Tuesday, and she's been playing it and is enjoying it. And so this she's a good friend of mine, but like I've never gamed with her because it's just like not her thing. So. It's interesting to me how people who just had no interest in video games at all are suddenly willing to drop almost $400 because of, like COVID. Like they're like, I'm running out of Netflix shows, I have nothing to do.
And then not to mention
and it's a way
Netflix
to
was having
socialize with
problems
people
today.
and-
Yeah, Netflix has been having issues with so much demand, especially I understand in Europe where they've actually agreed to go down to standard definition to sort of lighten the burden of things.
That's how people are like desperate because like most people are like, I want this on HD, and then I was like, all right, I'll accept 480 or 360. And it's like,
Saya, by the way, I've never played Animal Crossing either, but I'm also getting it. Morgan's been playing it nonstop, and it looks very relaxing. I think a game I used to play when I wanted to relax was Spore. I don't know if you guys ever played Spore.
I love Spore. I love character creation in Spore. Well, species creation, not like
species creation. Yeah, and that was my relaxing game. So
I think it's like I've been so amazed at like how incredibly hyped and excited people are to relax.
Yeah,
Like everybody's like,
honestly,
can't wait,
like-
to just like I'm done with all the things I have to do, so I can just like relax with Animal Crossing. Like I love it.
And honestly, like everything that's going on is a travesty, that this is happening in the first place. But the fact that like people are now getting into Animal Crossing and everything just does make me really happy because for years, like it's been a bit niche, not like a whole lot of people really knew about it, I guess. But now that it's out for the Switch, so many people are like, well, I'm gonna get a Switch. People are saying that this game is so nice and relaxing, and the thing about it is that it is slow in the beginning, especially in the beginning. But like you can just go fishing, you can catch bugs, you can talk with your neighbors, and play with your friends. Go to Mystery Islands, and and you can decorate your island however you want. And one of the really cool things too is that if you have a few friends playing it,
this is gonna make me want to play Ark again.
You can actually play with up to 8 people online, like on one island. I mean, you can also play with like your family members on one island also, like if you have like different houses, but to play online, you can play with up to 8 people. So you can even just run around your island just hanging out with your friends like that.
Didn't it outsell like all the other major Nintendo titles like for opening weekend or opening week?
I think so.
I want to say I saw something about that. It's like the number one. It like overtook whatever it was.
Smash Brothers. I think it overtook Smash Brothers and hold on, where was this?
Is Smash really the number one seller on?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, Smash is like the thing about it is like it's long. I think it's fairly long awaited for a lot of people, especially since Smash 4 had a bit of a rocky. I don't know if you know the story behind Smash 4, but Bayonetta is one of the characters.
Like,
Smash 4 was the one beforehand, just before Smash Ultimate.
So,
and
how many have been after
Pokemon Sword
Brawl?
and Shield had the best like debut with 1.36 million, with Smash second 1.2 million, Animal Crossing 1.88 million in sales. So that's crazy.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's got the best Nintendo debut.
And it came out 5 days ago.
Yeah, literally.
And more people are just gonna. I mean, I'm probably gonna get it.
Spanish, you should probably cave eventually. My rationale for people getting a Switch is more or less this: like, think about just the games that are out for the Switch right now. If you can find even a few that you like, you can sink so many hundreds of hours into some of those games. Breath of the Wild, giant game. Fire Emblem, not exactly a dainty game in and of itself. Mm-hmm. Animal Crossing, Octopath Traveler, and then you think about all the games that are out for everything and are also out for the Switch. Lots of indie games come out on the Switch. Pokemon, you could sink a ton of hours into that. depending on how into the actual game you end up getting.
I do think like from what I've seen, obviously never played it, just know
Sweet.
about it. And obviously what Morgan has kind of shown, explained to me. It does seem like Animal Crossing is the perfect game for the moment at which we are at in history.
It
I
really
agree.
In
is.
terms of being like a relaxing escape for
Yeah.
people, something that you can sink a lot of hours into, and also a way to connect with other people, like in this time where we have to like socially distance and whatever.
Mhm.
It's like it just seems like it's like perfectly primed
Hashtag 6
to
foot
be
rule.
hashtag
Which,
6 foot rule.
yeah, and like
The
so
game for the moment right now, you know.
yeah. So like if you have friends that also have the game, like it's not just a like Overwatch, you know. Like Overwatch is so much fun to play, you know, like don't get me wrong, but like it's match to match, you know. It's very competitive, it's very very fast, you know. Versus with Animal Crossing, like you can play with your friends, you can go to each other's islands and you can just walk around with each other. I bother my brother with, you can build a little ocarina and I just go around smashing the A button, just playing this ocarina over and over
Just
again.
your brother, no
Oh my
one
gosh,
else.
Morgan
Definitely
is so
not
good at mashing one button. I've lost many
just-
Monster Hunter
I'll
World
be-
arm wrestling
Oh, Morgan's very
match
skilled at
to
that.
Morgan.
I'll be sitting down just like doing something, like sending an email or something, and I hear the faint sound of an ocarina about a foot to my right,
here, wait.
and then it gets louder and louder and louder. I just look, Morgan's turning up the volume,
Go ahead
just
and
like
hand me
looking
that.
at me.
Hand me my Switch.
Sure.
The greatest console of our time.
I
Let's
really
see
like
here.
what Ash said, by the way, that like what she likes about Animal Crossing is looking forward to playing it. I think that's a really powerful statement about a game when you could say that you look forward to playing it, even though it's only going to be for a little bit. Also, I want to point out something Gameology said, which was watching streams. I think now is not only the perfect time for games like Animal Crossing, but it's also the perfect time for Twitch. Because Twitch is a great way to
Or
connect with
Mixer.
people. Obviously, you know, we sort of, or Mixer if you want to connect with Ninja. And you know, like we obviously all connected on Twitch, so we're big proponents of that. And it's if you want just people to talk to, Twitch is a great way for that, to be honest.
So I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see this because of the light, but so let's see.
You can
there-
actually see it pretty well.
There's my
Oh, yeah.
character,
That's very clear, actually.
and there's her little ocarina. I made it out of clay, and this is what I keep doing. So I don't know if you guys can hear it, but
Yeah, I can hear that. Yeah, there it is.
that's just what I'll do. I just walk. Oh, here. Like, I wonder if maybe. Here, wait. Let me see if I can. This is gonna be weird doing this. Like, let me see. It's like I'll just go like. Oh wait.
That's so funny.
Did you say something? Didn't you
That's
say Rory did
awesome.
something similar to that? Like he would lock his mouse wheel and then just like go up and down with it or whatever.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
you
that
mean-
was no Morgan. Fun of me because I always have my mouse wheel locked. So when I scroll, I guess it was a bit on the loud side, and sometimes Morgan would just like, I guess, bring the mouse close to the microphone and just start wheeling it, just to like tell me how much noise I was making when I was like reading news or whatever.
And now I have the same mouse, so now you can make fun of me. And now I have my Switch, so bad.
Plugging the competitor during a stream on Twitch. Yeah, it's probably sort of bad practice for our own podcast
It's
that we
it's
plug
for
Ninja
them
so
to reach
often.
out
Yeah.
with a contract saying
Caster,
that
exclamation
they want
caster.
us.
Yeah, yeah.
Rory,
yeah, we're
it's-
just
I'm
waiting for
opening
that.
doors and setting up opportunities.
Rory, what you mentioned about the like Twitch kind of having a moment right now. I had another friend of mine who's not into gaming, not into Twitch at all. She texted me and was like, "I'm thinking about joining Twitch." And I was
Mhm.
like, "Okay,
Ooh.
great.
Yeah.
Like as a viewer or as a streamer." She's like, "I don't know what you mean." So that's like literally how little she knew about it. And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Well, what do you know about it?" And she's like, "Nothing." But I was like, "I'm thinking about joining." So I like I had
And
to-
that
I
was
had
it.
to-
That was all they got. Was I just want to join.
Well, I had to explain to her what it was at first, and
Hmm.
she's like, it seems like something I'd want to get. I think she just got like a computer or something, so she was interested in whatever it was. She's like, I don't know anything about it. I just know that you do it. It sounds like fun. So I spent like an hour via text like explaining this to her.
A few people have walked in.
Hey, Bo.
Verdant, how are you? It's good to see you. And Verdant, I imagine you're doing, given what I know about your profession, quite a lot of your work remotely lately. And Vove, how are you?
Yes,
It's good to see
Vove
you
is
again.
here now. I actually heard what Vove sounded
Oh.
like the other day for the first time.
So I thought
Oh,
I didn't know who that
you wanna play
was.
later?
yeah, I didn't know who it was
Play
either,
later.
and then
When I
was like,
heard
oh,
it, because
like,
there was
what?
someone. We were watching our friend Megan's stream, and she was playing with someone, and it was clearly someone who knew who me and Morgan were, because they like made a joke about like the coronavirus being a conspiracy by Morgan to keep me in America. And I was like, okay, well, he definitely knows who we are then. And so I assumed it was like Texas Instruments or like one of the mods or something, but it turned out to be Vove. I found out shortly thereafter.
That's how I found who Vove was. Vove started talking to me. I was like, "Who's talking to me? How do you?" know?"
I'll have you guys know that I just paid off my one of my loans on here as we were talking.
I find it very interesting
So
that
is
you
this-
can be in debt
do you
to a
ever get out of
raccoon.
debt to the raccoon?
I think technically, yeah, because you basically what it is you don't have to, but so
So it's
you
already
can
better
pay
than
off-
American
you can-
education system.
so in this one in particular, you start out with the tent. You can pay him in something called Nook Miles, which just you can earn by doing things, catching fish, catching bugs, donating to a museum, like that. You can do anything, like just chopping wood. Like you can earn miles, talking to your neighbors, and what just happened?
Trev,
I didn't
what have
do
you
anything.
done? What do you mean you didn't
It's
do
just
anything?
me now.
Oh, I think
Also,
something happened with Melly.
oh, to Melly, okay.
That was super weird.
Why did you just automatically assume I did something?
Because you were.
I don't know what
clicking. I heard-
happened. My Discord just freaked out.
Oh, I heard
Yeah.
clicking, and then everything's. I'm like, Trev is doing.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't doing anything.
He finally kicked me
there
off the
was an
podcast.
update for Discord right beforehand, though.
Interesting. Okay, so yeah, the Nook Miles are like a loyalty program, and you just get Nook Miles by doing things. Like you can do pretty much whatever. So in order to get your house, you have to get 5,000 Nook Miles, which is super easy. You do it right away, just by getting tasks done. And then you'll get your house built, and Tom Nook will be like, okay, so then that's all done. Now, if you want to make your house bigger, we can do another loan, and it'll just go up from there. And then when you pay it off, he'll ask you if you want to do it again. And most of the time, people are like, yeah, sure, because you can pay it off whenever you want to, as slow as you want to. There's no interest or anything. He
Interest-free loan.
basically,
Dream.
so
That's how you know it's
Uh,
a fantasy world. There's no
yeah,
interest.
and
Y'all are like really selling me on this.
yeah, and that's just how it goes. And he's very nice about it. He'll be like, yeah, just pay it off whenever you can. He doesn't ask you about it or pester you about it either.
Okay, can you clear
Morgan's
up-
like doing an ad for Tom Nook
Can
right
you,
now.
Can you clear this up? I heard that Tom Nook is actually more chill in Horizons than in the previous. Is that true?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Not as mean.
In the first one, he could be like, because he was like a store owner basically. Like that's where he started.
Okay,
Um,
the way
and
Eric
then-
explained Tom Nook to me was that he's the mobster of this game.
He's not a mobster.
That's how he
Honestly-
explained it to me.
I feel
Eric's
like it's
gonna get shot next time he rolls into
It's
this
gonna- it's
chat by
teaching
Morgan.
children. Financial responsibility and how to budget. Like that's great.
Well, and the thing too is that like you can just like earn money by selling. Well, like what Lissa just said right there, by selling fish and bugs. Like that's what you can do.
Honestly, that's what I'm probably gonna have to start doing in this
And
economy.
It's super
It's a
sweet and it's
crystal
super
thing.
cute.
Start selling fish and bugs.
It's really easy to do also. And yeah, you can just do it as slow or fast as you want, really. Tom Nook tricked a bunch of people wanting to go on a trip so he could start his own enterprise.
Hey, he's just got a hustle. I mean,
Yeah.
I respect the hustle.
He's not here
Um,
finessing people.
But yeah, like he's done like he's done better things like more and more throughout each game that he's been in. But he started out just as like a store owner, and then in the last main game he started Nook Inc., which is just like it was like about houses and stuff and
Continuing his
Is that
trend of playing
shady?
games other people have played, Sim Theme Park is one of Morgan's all-time favorites. Has Sai just like played all the games that everybody in the stream has played?
But I gotta read what he said. When I was a kid, I would play The Sims theme park on my whack-ass computer. I would take the max loan out right away because I thought it was free money. Oh my
Ooh.
god.
You
Well,
learn
I mean,
financial
technically it is
responsibility
free
on
money,
the
but
side.
like free is a very loose.
There's no such thing as free lunch.
It's
Oh my
Psy guest
God.
time. It might be.
One-on-one.
Honest to God,
It
though,
might
like I was
be.
just
You mean Brandon? It's Brandon's guest time?
Brandon, are you
I
Brandon?
love that we found that out.
Yeah,
that
no.
was
Yeah,
Brandon.
yeah, that's
Melly, we
him.
found out.
Oh wait.
Yeah,
Well, that
Yeah,
was the
that's
time
Brandon.
that we played Overwatch. She wasn't here for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Melly. Yeah. It was, so we,
You're
we
Brandon's
that application we got
That,
for Brandon.
that
That was
application
Psy the
that
whole
was like
time,
using
yeah.
their name. I was like, whoa. I was
I
like,
missed that. I missed that.
There
day
were
in
so many
class.
fan theories on who that could be. We were pretty convinced it was Tim. Like,
Yeah,
for the longest
I thought it was
time,
Tim
just
fucking
'cause
with
Tim
us.
likes to mess around with us sometimes. So
I was gonna say it was me.
no, you already outed
I'm
yourself
Brandon.
as the other account. It's fine.
Oh yeah, you right.
But yeah, I was just talking to Roy about this the other day though, because I was just like,
we were watching the GOG
Yeah.
the No Clip documentary on GOG,
And I
one
was
like,
like-
why can't they have Sim Theme Park?
it's like, come on, get some of my older games. Like I really play them. Like you know how stupid like I feel sometimes when I like I'll be on Steam and I'm like I could totally spend $30 and buy the entire Freddy Fish collection, but do I want to do that?
So I
And buy
noticed.
Freddy Fish?
Just
I noticed
splurge
Rory is
all your
wearing
money.
ripped jeans again, and I was wondering, did someone put their finger on the?
No lady,
Oh
no,
my God.
no lady came up and rubbed my knee today. No,
Okay.
I
I said double
I went-
check to make sure nothing weird.
I went through the day relatively unscathed. For those who don't know the story, a lady, while I was asleep on the bus, I was next to Morgan, and some lady came up and rubbed my knee, just to tell me she was going to the washroom. It was weird. It made me very uncomfortable. I was looking. Yeah. So, this is very much Morgan's experience as well. Not finding a legit way to play Sim Theme Park. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah, because I
That's-
desperately want to play it. Like,
Yeah.
I loved that game. It was so fun. But there's like a lot of older games that I would really just love to play again.
I
I'd
always
probably
like
buy
this is an
'em.
old game, but I liked playing SimCity 2000. That was my. I
Yep.
never played like the
I remember
Sims
seeing that in
before.
the store all the time.
I played that
With
quite a
like
lot
one of
too.
those like, oh, you
So
need 4
much.
CDs, like you install it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah,
put
yeah.
disc 2 in, and then I was like, oh, put disc 3.
I still have
in.
so many of those.
I actually
games.
there was a mobile version of it. I ended up playing it like a couple years ago, and
Mhm.
it was really fun. But it
What
was-
is Sims theme park? Is it Sims or theme park?
It's both.
It's also
best of
marketed
both
in different.
worlds.
You remember we looked it up that one time? We found out it was marketed
Yeah.
under a different title in different regions.
Mhm.
So
From
Bleez-
floppies? Jesus.
Bleez probably actually knows about it. It might just be marketed under a different name or
Certain
something.
Oh god. But like I was just talking to Rory too, because like my mom and I loved like the CD-ROM games. Loved them, like on PC. And my mom absolutely loves any game where it's like not Civilization, like Sid Meier in particular, where like you can like start wars and stuff, really. But my mom really liked just like making like Civilization games, basically. Like I don't know if anybody really knows. I'm sure some people in here would know. But there was Cleopatra, Pharaoh, Poseidon, Zeus, Emperor. It was basically like where you
Oh, Age of Empires.
not Age of Empires, no.
Well, it's something like that, but like on the front it had the 3 different gods. It was like
So I remembers Emperor.
Yeah.
Um,
Sai appears to have played all the games. Sai, have you played Dishonored by
yeah,
chance?
city building series. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically what these games were.
It's not available.
Like, oh wait, I have it on GOG. I'm gonna need to look into this because.
Yeah, you have. Okay, yeah, that's my favorite game series.
Okay, wait, I have it on GOG. Okay, he was talking about.
Yeah.
Dishonored.
He
I got real excited.
no, he was
there for a
talking
second.
about the city building series.
Okay, I
Thank-
again.
Bleez, I have the lore for you, by the way. Sim Theme Park it was known as Sim Theme Park in North America, but elsewhere it was known as either Theme Park World or Theme Park 2 for some reason. So
Huh.
that was
Theme Park
like the
2.
Tycoon games. The
But yeah, like what these games were though, like in terms of Emperor, Cleopatra, Pharaoh, Zeus. Basically, what you would do is you would just start with an empty plot of land, and you would just start building like houses, and you could build like a market and stuff, and things would upgrade depending on how well you were making your city. So like you would have like maybe some little houses that would start out, people would move into them. You'd have a market somewhere. You would have like a
Yeah, okay.
place to like
it sounds
put
a
your
lot like
things
Tycoon
or-
games. Yeah.
Pretty much. If you guys would want to look
The
them
cover
up,
art is pretty startling.
Yep.
Oh my
there it is.
goodness, look at that graphic design.
Oh man,
Just in case you ever wanted to be completely terrified and you've lost all your
If
pictures of the
they're
happy
trying to
tree.
sell
You know
that
it's good
game
if
for a
there's 3
specific
different
reason, I
typefaces.
don't know what they were
the
going
grid
for.
style emperor, yeah.
Funny
Funny story.
3 different typefaces in one title. That's how you know.
Which is Phil.
An empty glass from like yesterday.
Funny story too about Sim Theme Park actually. When we got it, my mom and my brother, one of my brothers, were like got totally obsessed with it the first day that they had it, and my mom and my brother played it all night long, and my mom actually let my brother just stay home from school the next day, and they played it all day and night. The first day that it came out, they loved it. But yeah, like I loved those games, and it was really interesting with like Emperor and Pharaoh and stuff, like because you would do all sorts of stuff, like having certain things like wells nearby, and like the acupuncturist or something in terms of like Emperor maybe, and having the market nearby, like certain places would grow a little bit better, and then maybe certain places would be a bit poorer, so you need to figure out what was going on in that area to fix it to make them a little bit better. I would love to play them again. You know, like with certain games now, I can't because 1, I don't have a disk drive on my PC, and 2, sometimes they just won't download. Like they just won't let you. I know it sounds stupid, but like I would love to just find like an old computer somewhere with like Windows 95 on it, just so I could play some of my old games.
we could probably work something out. I bet we could figure out how to do it.
Because I have so many of them. Like, guys, I have all the old Sims games, like, on disc still.
Yeah, VM, that's what I was going to say, Zippy. We can run it we can run it. Yeah, exactly, yeah. We can figure something out. I actually have the same... What's funny is I have almost the exact same gaming experience as Sai, which is, like, it was my older cousins who got me into... Because I'm, like, the youngest of my cousins. It was my older cousins who, like, got me into video games and showed me, like, Metal Gear Solid and like Battlefield and Counter-Strike and Half-Life and all of those games that got me into gaming and PC gaming. Question from Melly. Okay, fire away.
What are your thoughts after seeing the Resident Evil 3
Don't answer
demo?
it, she didn't do it
Anything you're
correctly.
specifically excited for?
What do you mean she didn't do it correctly?
Mel, what do you think?
No, so
Oh, Melly, did you play it yet? I don't remember.
Okay,
if you played it
so
yet.
this is my thing with demos. I don't mind watching demos,
Mhm.
but I don't want to play it.
Mhm.
So John really wanted to play the demo. So when a Resident Evil demo comes out, he just wants to play it over and over and over again. Like when the Resident Evil 7 demo dropped, he played it about like 30 times through.
Jesus.
No, well, and also that one had a lot of hype and like kind of mystery surrounding because it was such a departure from the previous Resident Evil games. I mean, anything I'm specifically excited for? I think there's some new game mechanics that I feel like are going to come in handy. I don't know how much you want me to say about it because I know you don't want it to get spoiled for you, but there's some things in terms of Jill Valentine's movements and like some of the things that I think is an improvement upon the mechanics and gameplay of the Resident Evil 2 remake. So I'm really excited about that. So I think that's about as much as I'm going to say about it because I don't want to spoil it for people if they haven't seen it yet. But
I have a follow-up question for you guys then. But go finish your thing first.
No. I mean, it looks fantastic. It looks just as good, if not better, than Resident Evil 2 remake looked. Just in terms of like the graphics and the gameplay.
It looks better than 2? Damn, because 2 looked great. Because it's the same engine they used for DMC5.
Yeah. I mean, it's just more of that. Like, so if you enjoyed the remake, this is just going to be more of that. Yeah.
So, are you going to play, like, when it comes out, are you going to play it right away on stream? Do you think?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I've just been playing a lot of Resident Evil, so that seems like the most natural progression. So it's like one of those games, like, I don't mind, because it's a remake of a game that's been out for forever, so I don't mind getting spoiled on stuff. But I just want the first time I actually hold the controller and play it to be like the actual game, not the demo.
Sure.
So I didn't mind watching.
Isn't
John
that
play the
out like
demo
next
over and over
month?
again.
and like on the
You mean
17th or whatever.
Resident Evil?
Yeah.
Resident Evil comes out in like a week and a half. Or
Yeah,
something.
very soon.
Oh.
Yeah,
The 3rd, I think.
Well, yeah. So it's
yeah,
next
yeah,
month.
just at the beginning of next month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lissa actually had a really good question, Mel. I actually kind of want to know what you think too. 'Cause she says, "What are your coping skills when playing horror games?" Because like I know that like I don't play a lot of horror games. Big chicken.
Melly screams into the microphone. That's her coping skill.
She does that in like non-scary
My
games
coping
too.
skills is I just get all my anxiety up by just screaming.
Hey, bye.
Go watch the Dark Souls 3 VOD, and you're just gonna hear him wants to scream nonstop. And that's not even a horror game. That's just an action
Well,
game.
Kuba, do you watch games? Because that's actually how I will watch a game. If I'm too scared to play it myself, like I'll watch it and then kind of enjoy the game in that way. I literally scream at everything. It's true.
The other coping skill is where's my save point? Where is it?
I'm-
Honestly,
yeah,
though,
yeah.
like, Melly during Alien
Alien Isolation.
Isolation.
Oh my
Where
god.
I need a save point. Can I just have a save point?
Yeah, I just pray for save points.
My extraction point.
What do I think of the multiplayer Resident Evil game? I honestly I thought I was gonna be able to play that demo. So that demo I was okay with playing in advance because it's a multiplayer. I kind of feel like the demo is the game, so it's not like a big deal to play that. But they didn't open it yet, so I think you had to have early access to it. So I downloaded and installed it, but I couldn't actually play it. But I think it looks really interesting. Like I think it'll help satisfy my asymmetrical survival horror multiplayer itch that has been there since I got into Friday the 13th, but don't want to play Friday the 13th anymore.
The only time I want to play
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, honestly, is only if I can play with.
and Melly doesn't want to play it anymore. So
No,
you've
I
gotten
will
an
play
awkward
it if
cycle
we
of
get
not
a
playing
freaking
it.
full lobby where we're playing with only people we know. I will play it because
I would get it to play with you guys.
That
For
would
all the
be fun.
games,
I just don't-
Melly recently got Division 2, so I'll get Friday the 13th.
I just.
I mean, to be
think
fair,
it'd be
that
fun to
was
get a full lobby
$3.
of
If
it.
you didn't
But
get
if we
it,
don't
you
get
were
a full
like
lobby,
you were
we're playing
losing
with
out.
friends. I don't wanna do that.
Melly, I wanted to ask you about demos then, because you have a certain policy, it seems, behind like not playing demos for story games, and I'm curious, like, how that developed. Was there like an adverse experience where you played one and didn't like it, or is that just are you just like preemptively like I just don't want to see anything about the game until it's out and I get my hands on
I don't
it?
mind like seeing things about it because obviously I'll watch games on Twitch and then like that's actually like Resident Evil 2. Like I watched it a bunch on Twitch before I even played it myself, so I don't
Sure.
mind like watching things and see because like I feel like actually playing it myself is a completely different.
You did the
experience.
same with God of War, I think, right?
Yeah, I
You
watched a
other
bunch
people
of God
play
of
it,
War.
and
Yeah, I don't mind watching things. Like to me, that's not spoiling. To me, like the spoiling experience is not necessarily like plot details. It's like experiencing the game and unlocking it, like the gameplay, like just discovering like new things. Like I like to protect that part of my game.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like Last of Us 2 is like my favorite. I mean, Last of Us is my favorite game. But I don't think they're gonna release a demo because I don't think they would do that. But if they did, I don't think I would play it. Because I want my first experience of that game to be when I'm actually playing it, not
There are
the demo
some
that was released.
I think there are some games that I just wouldn't play a demo of. Like I played the demo for Final Fantasy VII Remake. I heard it was really short though, so I was like, I wanted to know what the gameplay was going to be like, just because I know it's vastly different from the original Final Fantasy VII.
It's good.
Even though you can play it in the original version of it too, but I wanted to know what it was like. But there are some games that like I just won't play a demo for.
Combat's great.
Yeah. Like when Yakuza 6 was coming out, there was a big demo for it, and it was hilarious though because apparently, fun fact about this: when Yakuza 6 was coming out, people were playing the demo, and a lot of people were noticing. They're like, "Boy, this demo's really long," because some people were getting like an hour in, and it wasn't ending, and they're like, "This is really weird. This demo is super super long," and it turns out that for somehow when you downloaded the demo, it unlocked the entire game. And so people were just playing through the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And I think some people are getting like 2 hours in, and then Sega realized what they did, and they're like, "Oh no!" And
They're like Control Z.
and they turned it off. But yeah, like that was one of those games though. When Yakuza 6 came out, that I did not want to do the demo for. I was like, I am waiting. I don't want to know anything about it. I'm super excited for this game, so I'm not going to play the demo. So there's definitely Animal Crossing. I probably would not have played a demo for, to be honest. But yeah, like I definitely get the feeling for that. I don't think they'll do one for Animal Crossing, geez, for Last of Us.
Yeah,
It's
I would be
only
surprised.
Animal Crossing.
They don't need to. They don't need to generate any hype for
Yeah.
Last of Us. People are gonna buy it anyways. But I feel like me and Trev are. I think me and Trev are actually the opposite because I know we played the DMC5 demo like the second we could.
Yeah.
Now, the
And like I
only-
played Bioshock demo back in the day and stuff.
Now, the
yeah.
only thing I would not be surprised about though is that because I heard that there was supposed to be like a closed demo at PAX East this year that ended up not being there for The Last of Us because Sony ended up not going. So I wouldn't be surprised if for some reason they were like, okay, we're gonna just put out this demo since.
Oh, that's a good point.
Since it
I didn't
wasn't
even think
able
of
to
that, but
play.
that's a good point.
I don't
I'm-
think they will though.
I may have a
just don't see it.
caveat for my rule. I think if I'm not sure if I'm interested in the game, I'll play the demo.
Yeah.
But if I'm absolutely
I think that's
sure,
Yeah,
if
because
I'm absolutely sure
that
I'm
could
going to
either
play it-
peak or like destroy your interest, and then
Yeah, if there's
Yeah.
no if I absolutely 100% know I'm going to play the game, I don't see the purpose in playing a demo. If I'm like, for example, like Devil May Cry, I actually played that demo because I was or DMC.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because
I never knew that. Oh,
yeah, I
cool.
just played it. Because I wasn't sure if it was for me or not, and I played it, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get this or not. So like, it was a good way for me to just kind of like, is this for me? Is this not for me? So yeah, if I'm on
Sure,
the fence
yeah.
about a game, I'll play the demo. If I'm 100% sure I'm going to play it, then I don't want to rob myself
But
of.
I feel like you
experience
played
playing
that
it.
demo before you were like an action RPG person. I feel like after you've played The Witcher and like Bloodborne and started Dark Souls.
Yeah, I'm curious.
and-
Do you remember what you thought about it at the time? Can you like, because I had like me and Trev were going into that having played, previous games
All
in the
the
series.
previous
What was it
ones.
like going into a demo of the fifth game in a really long running series? Like,
I think it was just a lot. Like, I think
Mhm.
it seemed cool, and I was like, oh, I would like maybe get this, but it didn't become like a priority for me. I was just
Sure.
kind of like, oh, that was kind of fun and cool. Like, it's like a very sexy game. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I was like, this seems super cool. And then I was like, I'll probably get this, and I just never did. So I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it. But yeah, like Zippy, it's kind of like the same thing with trailers. Like, I don't like to watch movie trailers.
I'm
if
the
I
same
already-
way.
If I already know I'm gonna watch it, like if like a Marvel movie was coming out or Star Wars movie, I already know I'm gonna watch it. So I don't want to watch a trailer about it to like further hype me up for it because I'm like I
Mhm.
want to like be surprised as much as I possibly can.
I'm the
But,
same
no.
way, like especially for game trailers too. Like the only time that I'll watch game trailers are like during like E3, or like Nintendo Directs, like when they have like events for it. But I don't actively go searching for them, especially actually movie trailers. The only
Movie
time
trailers are the worst.
the only
for it.
time that I watch movie trailers are when I go to the movie.
I can't. I actually changed my policy on movie trailers because I used to watch them all, and I was like, no, there's movie trailers are not good enough, to be honest, to watch them because some of them are so bad that you find out way too much about the movie.
Or yeah, the entire plot of a movie is in the trailer. Like that's one of my pet peeves.
Because like and like again, like with video games too, like bringing up another Nintendo game that I love very much, but like one of the things about and I understand why they show certain things in trailers is so they can hype up like this is a really big part of the game that maybe people will really enjoy, and because of that maybe new people especially will want to try out this game. So like Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, that game would have been so much cooler, I think, for me. I mean, even though I loved it, it's tied for one of my favorite Legend of Zelda games, like between that and Wind Waker.
Mhm.
I love Twilight Princess, and imagine how really cool it would have been if you were playing the game and then you didn't know that Link eventually could turn into a wolf because he gets gets cursed in the game. I feel fine talking about that because the game's been out since 2006.
The statute of limitations, yeah.
Yeah,
You're
so many of
fine.
us have watched Tiff stream it, so
Mhm.
it's all good.
That fun fact also about Tiff, that's the first game that I ever watched her stream.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I was super excited about that. But
it came in when she was robbing that poor bird store owner or whatever.
Yep. because the wolf was in the ads. Yeah, because like I understand they had like for the really cool ads and everything, like the cover art and everything. It was really cool looking. It would have been so neat though, you know, like playing, you know, because it kind of happens in the beginning of the game where he turns into this wolf and then he's in the Twilight Realm and he's just, you know, he's just in this jail cell as a wolf, and you're like, oh my god, I'm Link and I'm a wolf now. What am I gonna do? And you have to go from there. Like that would have been so cool. And again, I understand why they advertise that, because that is a core part of the game, so that's why they advertise it. And you know, maybe some people don't like that aspect of that kind of Legend of Zelda game where you turn into a wolf sometimes. But I loved it. And it would have been so cool for that to happen without us knowing. So yeah, the only time I'll tend to watch trailers are like during events, I think.
Like E3
Yeah.
or like something like that.
Zippy's
E3,
right, by the way.
yeah.
Spec Ops: The Line, great example of a game that subverted expectations once you actually played it. A surprisingly good game, actually. Very short. It's like 8 hours or something. I played it in like a day.
I
highly
want
recommend if you've never
to
given it a
touch
go
on
beforehand.
something Tater said earlier, because I'm the same way. He said that when something gets announced, he wants to know everything about it, and like he'll dive in and like learn everything as possible. I'm the same way.
Like dissect.
I'm the
it.
same way with games for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause like I don't know how many. I imagine Rory remembers this, but when Kingdom Hearts 3 first came out, I remember Tiff was like, "I don't want to see it, nothing for like a whole month," and she waited a whole month. But
Yeah.
when it was released in like Japan or whatever, because like they get it early, I looked up every single thing about it, like read the ending, read all the secret stuff, did all that and this and that, and then I was like, okay, so now I know everything.
Yeah, well, it's also worth noting you're a mod in Tiff's chat,
Yes.
and so like that helped Trev. Like that was like him like loading up his weapon, right? Like he was ready then. So if someone came in with a spoiler, he could shoot them before Tiff saw it.
Yes.
Yeah, and
That's some
Kingdom
very
Hearts.
vigilant modding.
Kingdom Hearts, like for me also, I can, because I remember that when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, I was hearing things about like people were like, be careful on Facebook like for Kingdom Hearts stuff because there's a video
the
going
massive
around that has,
spoilers.
Yeah.
thing.
Oh,
had
I
a really
remember
big
that
spoiler.
video. Yeah.
Yep, and I never watched it. And like I was to the point where like I had never even heard the like one of the songs. I can't remember the name of it for some reason right now, but like one of the songs I had not heard until they showed it at E3. Like I had not heard
the
it at
Face
all.
My Fears song.
Not Face My Fears. Like that was actually another one that I hadn't heard either. But it's the other one. I can't remember the name of it for some reason. I'm sure somebody will say it in the chat in a second.
Diddy's movies are the worst for that.
But like I hadn't heard it at all, and I was like, this is the first time I'm even hearing this. Like I was not watching trailers, like I was doing nothing, like except for E3. And then it was a week before the game came out, and everybody was like putting stuff on, like somehow getting like leaks and stuff. And so I actually got off of everything for a week. And then I stayed off of it until I beat Kingdom Hearts 3. Don't think twice. Thank you, Lissa. That's the one. Jeez.
That's not only Link, Wolf. That's Link from Wind Waker.
I
Morgan's
thought you were
other
gonna say
favorite
Link in Zelda,
Zelda
and I was
game.
like, I was about to be that
it's talking
guy.
about you, the tie blanket on your chair.
Oh yeah, right here.
It's super nice
This
and
is
very
Wind Waker,
soft.
yeah.
Morgan makes tie blankets. They're wonderful.
There's another one right there.
It's the best blanket I have.
I actually
Literally, it's the coziest blanket.
that reminds
Aw.
me when you like went into your radio silent mode for Kingdom Hearts 3. I actually did the same thing for Sai will remember this when Conor McGregor fought Jose Aldo. I had to not watch the fight for 3 weeks. I had to not find anything about one of the biggest MMA fights because my friend was coming back from England and I wanted to watch it for the first time with him. And so I literally got
one
off
who got
Facebook
married?
and Reddit. Yeah.
Oh,
The one who
okay,
got
yeah.
married. Yeah. So I got off of Facebook and every social network for 3 weeks and went into total radio silence
That is
to
commitment.
avoid spoilers. And the day before the fight, I was out at Wendy's with a friend of mine who
Oh,
doesn't
that's
know a
fun.
damn thing about mixed martial arts, and he spoiled the fight for me. And I was like, oh my
Oh.
god.
Did you throw
like,
punch him afterward?
3 weeks
Yeah, I was like, did you slap him around?
3 weeks of isolation, like for this. I was
And it
very
was
upset.
someone who was close to you. It wasn't even like some random stranger.
Yeah, it wasn't like a random guy at the Wendy's. It was like giving MMA spoilers in between his Baconator bites or something. Like he was like, it was just like a friend of mine who was like, "Oh, so the fight with the Conor McGregor winning, huh?" And I was like, "Why?
Is that the worst thing you've ever been spoiled on? Like the one that hits you the hardest?
It hit me the
Like
hardest.
movies, games, whatever.
Yeah, that was the worst. But because of the build up, right? Like the fight by itself, it wouldn't have bothered me so much, but it was the fact of the build up I had.
And
right?
you were like in the home stretch too. You was like
the
the
last
day before.
It was Friday, and my friend got back that night. We was gonna watch the next day. Yeah, that's why you have to find the way to catch fights live. That's what gets you, is not getting the fights live.
Actually, I was going to ask that for chat. Movie or game or TV show, like what's the worst spoiler that you ever?
Oh, that's a good
I was
question.
actually gonna ask that too, because
So
I'd have
quick,
to think about that.
Sai has a great example. Episode 7 of Star Wars. If you found out about that before, that would have hurt.
So quick question for Rory.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Without spoiling
With-
it, what is the worst spoiler you've ever had?
with since we're talking about trailers and stuff, and are you one of those people who like try to dive in and find everything out, or are you one of those people for games just like avoiding? Because if they put out multiple trailers, are you like?
If it's a game, I will watch every trailer. If there's another trailer, like the Japanese trailer that shows an extra 5 seconds, I'm watching it.
Oh, okay.
If it's a movie, I avoid all trailers, with the exception of Star Trek. Like when a Star Trek movie is coming out, I hyper analyze it. Like every little detail. I'm like the guy who's pausing it after every frame, trying to figure out if I can get a new clue.
Oh, okay.
Which sometimes leads to some arguments with my Star Trek friends. Who are like, they're like, "Oh, I think this is gonna." I'm like, "No, trust me. If you look at the
Like,
Chinese,
I went
stop it at this
frame
point.
by
That's not
frame,
there."
and this is
Yeah.
what happened. No, but
Wolf, good question. I'm waiting till the series ends on Friday. I think it is on the 27th, and then I'm binge watching the whole thing on the weekend. Actually, I'm very excited.
I'm trying to think of something that I got spoiled for.
Bleezes has got a good caveat. Like, what was it without actually spoiling it here?
well, for DMC5, I think that's the only time I regretted finding everything out about like a game.
Really?
Because like with
Oh,
the last trailer they dropped was Virgil.
Yeah,
I
That was
kind of
awful.
wish I didn't know Virgil was in the game. It would have been a nice
I remember
surprise
when
and
you said-
homage.
Yeah, I remember when you found
To,
out.
like, the
Didius
older
is doing
ones.
the same thing. Didius, I've never really spoken to Didius before. Are you a big Star Trek fan as well? I know me and Zippy are huge Star Trek fans, as is Tater's mother actually is a big Trekkie. That's just some lore for chat for you. Oh, Twitter loves spoiling Picard. Yeah, Trev, that's one of the worst I've ever seen. The trailer that they did for DMC for
Yeah,
spoiling things.
the
That
very
was
last
ridiculous.
one too.
Yeah, that was upsetting. Yeah, like that.
I would have liked
gonna
it to be more of a surprise,
Hey, Eric.
especially
Eric.
since you know that's my
Eric,
favorite
I hear your yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hear
Mama
your anti.
Tater-
Look, you might be about to
Tater-
get whacked. So,
Oh.
so just be careful, tread lightly around here.
It's more like
What's up, Eric?
Eric, hey, meet me in Animal Crossing so I can whack you with my bug catching net. But yeah, I think the one thing that I remember getting, and like, I feel like everybody has seen Avengers Infinity War, so I'm not going to say exactly what it is, I guess. But
Well,
I can
everyone
remember-
comes back.
I remember being on Tumblr, and I don't get on Tumblr much anymore now. But I can remember like, because it was at the time, like there was a huge thing with Endgame where they were like, "Don't spoil the Endgame," and so there weren't actually a lot of spoilers for it before it came out. But that's because there were tons of leaks and spoilers for Infinity War, and I was so excited for Infinity War, and I didn't know what it was because like when I first saw a little bit of this, because like when Infinity War was coming out, it was like 2 days before it was coming out. I finally had to be like, I'm getting off Tumblr and everything else. Like I'm getting off of everything because people are spoiling things for Infinity War, and I don't want to get spoiled. My brother Mac got a huge spoiler that he was extremely angry about. But for me, all I could all people were showing was dust, and I'm like, what the heck does this mean? Because like, so the good part was that I didn't know what it was exactly, but I knew that it was coming, and it made me feel really bad during the movie because I'm like, okay, something's happening with Dust somewhere in this movie, and I don't know what it is. So I kind of anticipated something with that, and that made me pretty upset that I knew that something like that was coming. But
Yeah,
that was
like
mine.
even with like hints or like subtle clues, it's like that's still
Yeah,
spoiling
Spanish.
in a way.
yeah, like even when people are like even
Like,
stuff like that where they're
alluding
not
to
saying
stuff, too, it's
exactly. When they're not exactly saying what it is, but they
They plant the seed, so you start
Exactly.
thinking about it.
Yeah, and it's like why?
exactly. I hate that.
And
Because kids
Didius,
trolling around
no-
Twitch just copy paste.
nobody knows that better than Ash does. Because literally every time a new game comes out and Ash tries to play it, 10 seconds in.
Oh, I felt so bad
Yeah.
for Ash when she was playing
Jedi Fallen Order?
Not Jedi
or
Fallen
This has
Order.
happened. No, this has happened
Shadow of the
multiple
Colossus.
times.
See, it happens in every
Shadow-
game. So
Literally
Yeah.
every
we're not
story.
even
It
sure.
happened in Uncharted 4. It happened in God of War. It happened in Shadow of the Colossus. It happened.
but I remember it
This is why
exactly.
we are
in
not
Shadow
It
of
happened
the
in
Colossus.
Batman
That's the
Arkham
clip,
Knight.
right?
This is why we're not going to stream Last of Us 2 for the first playthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
That's actually a really
Oh yeah,
good
Death
idea.
Stranding. And I was like, bro, I was like, how?
But yeah, like I can remember like she was so upset when she was playing Shadow of the Colossus, which by the way, guys, just as a reminder, if you have a PlayStation and you have PlayStation Plus, for this month you actually can get Shadow of the Colossus for free. So remember to download that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true. Yeah.
You will not be able to download it.
No, I will not.
Whoa.
Oh wait, no, I think I can still buy it actually on PS Store.
You could, yeah, I could
Yeah.
at least do that.
Wait, Melly's losing me and Morgan. Are you losing me and Morgan as well?
Me?
Oh yeah, I can see it on the stream.
I'm only getting Trevor clear.
I see
Trev,
you
can
guys.
you
but
hear
it's-
me?
Yeah, I can hear you guys, but you guys are very grainy.
We're grainy. Oh, we are
Yeah.
kind of grainy.
You all
Interesting.
sound like robots.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You guys sound fine to me.
Oh, okay. If we sound fine to Trev, we're good. I mean, no
Okay.
offense.
No, yeah, now that
Yeah, as
that's
long
all
as-
that matters, but that's
it
all
might
that
just
matters
be-
for
it might
them.
Oh yeah, that's true. You could get it. On,
Yeah, I can. Yeah, the
um,
PS Store. You can just hit purchase. Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
that's good. For when I get back to Canada in like a million years. I like it here.
But yeah, I can remember. So, and guys, it can be as simple as just saying this game is blah. Like you don't even have to say the game ended like this. I mean, because it's not too much of a thing, I guess. I mean, I'm still not going to say it since the game actually is free this month. Then there's a lot of people who might not have played the game and
Oh, you
might
mean
not have
Uncharted
also.
4?
Oh, Uncharted 4, yeah, that's going to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
next
leaked.
one. Oh, that's
that
right.
was
Yeah.
saying
Oh,
that
thank
it's
you.
the next
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Please
good
get
point.
that, guys. Yeah. But I meant for Shadow of the Colossus, since Shadow of the Colossus actually is free for this month still. There's a lot of people that might not have played it, and obviously might not have watched Ash play it. So they might not know. But
Isn't that when the Virgin clip came out of?
Yes.
That was
Yes,
from Shadow of the Colossus. Okay, yeah.
I'm so
Yep.
proud of that clip.
Yep. But so I'm not gonna say what it was, but somebody came in to Ash's channel when she was playing, when she was starting it, and they just go, "Yeah, I love this game. It's blah."
I'm gonna
And I don't mean they said blah, but I mean like they said blah.
Yeah, it was like it's and then blank, and I was like,
Yeah. This game is blank. There's the clip. That's
I love
one of my
that
favorite
clip.
clips
Yeah,
ever.
that's one of my favorites.
And they just said this game is blank, and she was like, "Did you really have to just say that to me?" Because even though like that's just how you feel about it, and you feel like that's not a spoiler, just saying this game is something. then-
adjective.
it
yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
even like one person did it. It was like every person who played that game
Every
previous
people
this
dropping
had come in and said the
Mhm.
exact same thing.
Like, oh my god, this
Yeah,
game
and
is
it's
so
like-
blank.
Well, that's like today alone in Doom. Every time she was fighting one of those enemies, they were told she was told every single time how to kill the enemy, and then she had to stop, go full screen, and be like, "Look, every time I fought this enemy, someone's come in and told me how to kill this enemy."
Yeah, that happens a lot. Big fight coming up, Zippy. That happens to me a lot too.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, like just saying that, just like coming in and saying this, like this movie or this game is something like I'm trying to think of something like like I guess like just for a certain movie to be like, yeah,
Oh,
I'm watching.
I have an example.
watching,
it's for Sixth Sense, and you'd be like, "Oh man, you would never guess what happens at the end." It's like, all right,
Yes,
well
and
now you know
something like
something's
that.
gonna happen at the end.
Well,
Like,
yeah, that's the
Exactly.
thing. Yeah, it's not even obvious that Bleeze mentioned this earlier. It's not even obvious that something is gonna have like
Mhm.
a twist ending.
yeah, I think he said a
necessarily,
twist.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
Like, so just finding out something has a twist, it's like, oh, well, now I'm watching out.
Mm.
Now I know there's like something behind the curtain here.
Well, and it would be like, okay, so this movie has also been out for a really long time, and it has a book. So I wouldn't exactly be saying that this is very spoilery for this, but Bridge to Terabithia. So I had actually never read
I actually
that book.
saw that movie
Yeah, so
in high school.
I had never read that
Or
book
no, in
when I was a
middle
kid.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a book. I had heard that that this movie was coming out, and then it was about fantasy and like imagination and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this looks cool. So my friends and I went to go see it. We did not know it was a book. And now when people say to me, they're like, didn't you ever read the book? I'm like, no, I was younger when it came out. I didn't know it had a
It's
book.
also not a super ubiquitous book,
Yeah.
like Bridge to Terabithia. Like I read it, but like
Mhm.
I read
only
it as
because I
well.
was like the perfect age for it.
I think it was
not,
like
a mainstream book though.
it was
It's not
like
one that
the
everybody has
less
heard of.
popular line, The Witch in the Wardrobe. I feel.
yeah, yeah. They
and yeah, so
It
like
was also
for me-
marketed in a very specific way. Like it was marketed as like this children's fantasy.
exactly. And
Yeah.
It
so
wasn't marketed for what it actually is.
yeah. And so when we went to go see it, like, and the thing that happened in it, like, we were so blown away by it. And like, yeah, now like I'll make this joke about like Bridge to Terabithia is why I have trust issues or something.
It's
Wait,
so
that
good,
was the
though.
same. That was the same movie where like that creature like snotted in the people's eyes so they could see. Or is
No.
that my thing?
No.
It's something completely different.
It's
No.
something complete. It's different.
That yeah. Basically,
What the fuck was that thing?
I have no idea what you're thinking.
so okay, just because. So I mean, I know I hate spoiling things here, but like just so people can get like understanding like what I'm going with here. So like in that movie, because like when we went to go see it, we thought it was just this movie about this, you know, it was a fun, imaginative movie and everything. What happens is the boy and the girl that are in it, they would jump using like a rope that they had on a tree across this little river to go to their little fantasy world that they had made up.
Okay, this is definitely not what I was thinking of.
What ends
fuck
up
was I
happening is the boy goes on like this thing with one of his teachers, like this art, like goes to like an art museum
Like
or
a field
something.
trip. Like a field trip.
Yeah. And was going to invite his friend, but didn't because he wanted to just go with his teacher by himself. And what ends up happening is the girl actually tries to go to Terabithia on her own. Like to Terabithia, that's what they called their little fantasy world. She goes on the rope, and it's raining. She slips, falls, hits her head, and she drowns in the river. And she dies. And that's like the huge thing about it. Like I didn't know, and like, and I haven't watched it since just because it makes
And
me
this
so
was
sad.
marketed towards children.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
um,
Honestly, I think it did come out around the same time as the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe came
I
out.
think it
So
did.
they were
Yeah.
I think they were very much trying to capitalize on the look, a
Mhm.
fantasy world kind of movie. So it was very like all of the fantasy elements, not like the human drama elements, but like
Yeah.
it was marketed more as like a children's fantasy
Yeah.
movie versus like a human like serious
and
drama.
it got very sad after that. Like so, it was about a bunch of different things, and it was so actually what it actually was supposed to be was more like a lesson movie, like a moral
Yeah.
story, and not just about like fun and fantasy, you know, imagination and stuff like that. Because what ends up happening is after his friend dies, the boy gets very depressed, and what ends up happening is then after that he actually takes his little sister to Terabithia and introduces her to the fantasy world, and it kind of ends
It's
there.
actually a really beautiful like human
really is.
movie. It's just not what it appears to be, which I think threw a lot of people off.
Yeah. And no, so I wasn't meaning to like go on a big tangent about Bridge to Terabithia there, but my point about it was that for that movie, I mean, I was younger, I didn't know about the book, so I never read the book or anything. But going into it, I did not know what it was about. And so now, you know, like if there are people that are like saying, yeah, my friend and I are gonna watch Bridge to Terabithia tonight, and if I just like if that person had said, I've never seen it before, I wouldn't go into it being like, oh yeah, it's a good movie. It's so sad.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then they're gonna be like, whoa.
Yeah.
So why
it would
is
just-
this fantasy
yeah.
movie that sad? Yeah.
And that's why like I hate when people do that kind of stuff. Like with Ash, like Ash was so excited to play Shadow of the Colossus, you know, and somebody just comes in and is like, this movie is so blank, or this game is so blank, and she's like, what? I just said I've never played this game. Oh, actually, something like that did happen to me when Red Dead was
play
coming out,
Roblox?
and I'm not going to
No.
say it. I don't want anybody to be talking about Red Dead 1 in here because Melly has not played Red Dead 1, and I do not want her to know anything about it. But somebody did spoil
Yeah, it's
something
like
for
I've
me.
seen the prequel, but I haven't seen the original trilogy.
Yeah, and when the game was coming out, as most people probably know, I worked at GameStop. And when Red Dead 2 was coming out, I actually was excited to play it because I had never played the first one. And I liked that it was about like the Wild West, like late 1800s. The guy's name was Morgan, and so I wanted to play it. And I was just talking to a customer about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty excited to play it. I never played the first one, and it's okay though because I heard this is a prequel. And the guy just goes, yeah, and then he just told me something about like a big spoiler from the first game, and I was like, dude, I just told you I never played the first one. And it made me so mad. I knew what happened because like I had my cousin was a huge fan of the first Red Dead, so I watched him play some of it, so I knew. But that guy didn't know that I had never seen the first one. It's like, why did you just tell me that, man? I just told you I'd never played the first one.
Eric, I
also-
get that, but if I've gotten 10 years and not gotten spoiled on it, I feel like why would I ruin that now? know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's like-
and that's why like I
Like-
don't want to get ruined from Ellie.
But are you gonna
I-
then to play it like so that you don't get
I
spoiled
kinda
on it
wanted
by
to play
Eric?
it.
Yeah, I mean, like when
By spoiled by
things-
Eric.
I mean, if it was easy, I mean, I guess if I had PS Now, I could play it on PS4, but it's not.
I
Like
forgot
can
you don't
go
have a
in-
PS3. Yeah.
Get
I
Melly
can't, go out,
PS3.
I can't go out and buy the game right now. I have to wait till backwards compatibility with PS5 to even like think about it. So
Yeah, which may or may not work with the first Red Dead Redemption. We'll see.
Or I could just
Yeah.
buy Melly a PS3.
The,
Let's band
Oh,
together and get
wait.
a PS3.
Why have we not talked about that yet? Oh, yeah. Why didn't I say anything about that? There was a huge tech thing for PS5, and I totally forgot. 'Cause it was-
Right.
We were thinking
Oh,
about
yeah,
like,
like-
stuff that came out
what's
recently,
called,
and
yeah.
I'd forgotten. There's been so much like chaos and confusion lately around things that it's sort of like very easy to forget certain things. And since we've had a podcast, there was a big tech reveal. Oh yeah, the launch edition. Yeah, that's the PS3 I have. That's PS1 and PS2 backwards compatible.
But that one was also prone to getting the red ring, or not. It wasn't the red ring. of
yellow
death, it was the
light
yellow
of
light
death.
of death.
It was, yeah. Mine dodged that, thankfully, but sort of in a matter of time. It's also a sort of peculiarly constructed console. It's also absolutely giant. It looks like a
Yes. Well,
like a
I had the
weapon.
slim, and that was
Um,
still pretty huge.
The
Yeah, Oh, sorry. I just wanted to just what Eric is saying. Yeah, like I can't
Yeah.
really get mad if somebody spoils it for me. I'm just saying, like y'all know I haven't played it, so if like
if you
don't
do
go
it on
spoil
purpose,
Yeah,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
like-
yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I don't expect people that have no idea about it, like
Yeah,
Well-
like
experience gaming it. Like if they spoil it, they spoil it. I'm not gonna get
Mhm.
mad about it. But like if I'm among company that know I haven't played it,
exactly
why would you go
because
spoil it for me.
it would
you
be
know what I mean?
like let's say we're just like Melly and I are just hanging out in like Tracy Doll's chat or something, and somebody comes in all of a sudden and people were talking about Red Dead 2 and they say something about Red Dead 1. Like that's not really that person's fault.
Yeah, and I can't
They-
get mad at someone for doing that. You know?
Yeah. But like yeah, when it's just us, definitely like I wouldn't just blurt out like, "Hey, this happens."
Yeah.
I'm really happy about what Zippy just said there. It's literally a PS3 and a PS2 in one case. It's actually very and Zippy is like knows about this stuff, so he's not being accidental in the way he worded that. It's actually quite true. And leads to so PS5 Sony had a big talk about the tech in the PS5. Now, there's one thing I want to get out of the way
Well,
before I say anything about
For
it.
one,
Yeah.
everyone thought that it was gonna be the reveal of what it was gonna look like, but it
Yeah,
wasn't.
and that's
it turned into.
it's unfortunate timing with the
stats.
fact that the Xbox had their thing, but what happened was Sony couldn't go to GDC because no one could really go to GDC. What was coronavirus and all that. So this is like more of a repurposed GDC talk than it is like a here's our like public E3 talk thing. It's just because of the season, people really wanted their sort of like consumer friendly, and it was more like developer nerd friendly. So it was great for me and Zippy, maybe not so great if you like wanted to actually see the console and to get a better sense of the precise things you could do with it. So it's rather like the Xbox is the best way I can summarize it. There's a couple of minor differences. It has a
Their
sort of
SSD
comically
speed
fast
is
SSD. Yeah,
insane.
It's stupid fast. And
they did the comparison for PS4 and PS5, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like,
yeah, it's an M.2. So okay, so if you don't know, so the PlayStation 4 does not have an SSD.
yeah, it uses a hard drive. That's why most games
and
take forever with loading screens.
they do absolutely take for the load times on PS4 are pretty obscene. Even just loading the PS Store is kind of comically slow. This does have an SSD. It has one that's in what we call like a M.2 slot, which is to say they're small. If you go to the store, you've seen an SSD, you're like, oh, like they're yay thick and like yay wide. That's not really how it works. M.2 SSDs are installed directly onto the motherboard, and there's actually a spare M.2 slot for you to. I believe there's two M.2 slots, so you can put in an extra one if you're so inclined. But you have to make sure it's compatible first, so bear that in mind. SSDs were crazy expensive, or relatively crazy expensive a long time ago, that's true. The biggest confusion probably right now that people are having is about the backwards compatibility, because the way the quote that got used, I think, from the press conference says something to the effect of, like, it works on some games and not others.
Yes.
And that has led people to believe that what they're doing is what I believe the Xbox has done with their backwards compatibility, which is gone through game by game and adapted them into backwards compatibility. That's not what's happening here. So the PS5 has an approach to backwards compatibility. Some games are going to work with it, and some games just aren't. And that's all there is to it. But they're not doing it on a game-by-game basis.
I believe the headline I saw was the first 1,000 like greatest hits on PS4 and like backwards were gonna be the ones that got transferred for backwards compatibility. Well, not transferred, but like made for backwards compatibility, as opposed to like every single game.
Yeah, it's some games are going to work with it, and they had a statistic that like the majority of the games in the top 100 most played were gonna from the PS4 generation were gonna work, and so some of them are gonna work, but some games weren't coded to just handle that. So their approach to backwards compatibility is not what historically has often been done, which is you literally, for lack of a better term, integrate the console, the old console that you're trying. So let's say you're making a PS3 and you want to make it backwards compatibility for the PS2. So one way is to literally incorporate basically a PS2 into the
other
circuitry of your PS3. That's one sort of brute force way to do it. Instead of doing that, they have this other sort of like new architecture they've proposed. If you're interested in the technical details, Mark Cerny, who works for Sony and is a huge hardware nerd, has a whole talk on this. It's about 50 minutes long. Digital Foundry just released a summary of that talk where they discuss the details. I have not watched it yet, but I trust Digital Foundry implicitly. They did great work when there was the Spider-Man graphical controversy. If you remember, there was a controversy about Spider-Man downgrading graphics, and they did great work sort of debunking all the panic around that and discussing temporal injection, which is Insomniac Games is part of their approach to visual design.
But so I imagine what you were saying about putting multiple, essentially coding the different consoles into one would make it drastically more expensive because they have to do the extra work to
I believe I think that's the rationale behind not doing it, is how much work it takes to do that. This is a little bit easier. And besides that, it's more or less the same as an Xbox. There's some small things that Xbox has a little more of, and there's some small things that PS4 has a little more of. Like most things, I imagine it's going to be determined by the games. I don't think most people right now know if the PS4 Pro is better than the Xbox One S. I imagine what they know is that the PS4 has God of War and the other games.
Just from
X amount of all these
chatter I've
other,
seen on Twitter, it seems like it's pretty neck and neck in terms of specs.
It is.
But,
I would
so
say.
like
Where
the-
PS5 excels,
the difference
Xbox
is gonna be-
excels somewhere else.
how passionate you are about PlayStation exclusives versus like the Game Pass being a pretty big plus for Xbox.
But
Maybe-
didn't
is that
didn't they just screw
Beast.
over
Beast.
the Gamecast or the Game Pass on Xbox? Didn't we talk about that last time? How they, like,
no,
that
we
was-
didn't. We
Well,
didn't. I wanted to mention
we were gonna
that.
remind
Yeah.
you, and we never did.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you did, but you did now.
Yeah.
Which is, some of the games are coming off of the Xbox Game Pass, and which of course, it happens. I know implicitly mind, but the thing about like that is that is one of the frustrations people do have with streaming services that Netflix, right? So maybe you have Netflix because you watch whatever you watch. You watch Buffy or whatever on Netflix, and it's like, well, Netflix takes Buffy off, and you're like, this is upsetting. Of course, there's a reason they took it off. It's
Or
not
The
an
Office.
accident.
Yeah,
Or
I
The
was just gonna say,
Office,
I think
yeah.
the big one's The Office, because I know a
Yeah.
lot of people who keep it for that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of games that what I would thought would have been big sellers for the Xbox Game Pass that are coming off. I can't remember the list now because it's so many weeks ago. So we'll see how that goes. And someone brought up the price point. I think it was Zippy. Yeah. The price point will also be really important. But as we talked about before, if you look at the PS4 cost of development and the PS4 market price, very close. Like, they don't have these huge markups to make these big profit margins on a per console basis. That's just not what they do. They rely on other means of making their profit generally, and it's done quite a service. So whatever it costs to make, expect it to be priced at probably just slightly higher than that, I would estimate. Consoles have always lost money. Exactly. There's you sell games, and there's more. Just like movie theaters don't make a lot of money off of movie tickets, right? They make a lot of
the
money off the
concessions.
The concessions.
the concessions.
That's why they're so
Which-
priced.
yeah. Exactly. They're super expensive, and think of how much it costs to make a thing of popcorn. It's like they're selling it at like 900% profit. Like,
Yeah.
it's... If the SSD is so much better than the Xbox, there's a very good chance the Xbox and PS5 will probably be identical. If not the PS5 being more. I would
usually,
say the PS5
usually
more.
isn't the PlayStation more expensive by a slight bit than the Xbox? Because wasn't
Yes,
the
but this last generation was the
wasn't-
exception, I believe.
Good night,
I
Tater.
know PS3 and
Nice,
Xbox
Tater.
360
Later,
it was
Tater.
like $380 for an Xbox 360 or like $280 or something, and then like PS3 was
Yeah, the PS3 was
full
more.
$299.
No, I think this one was different because the Xbox came out, wasn't it like bundled with the Kinect or something quite obscene
Yes.
like that? Like,
Yep.
and that drove up the price. So the PS4 ended up being cheaper this past generation.
But if it had just been the console,
Yeah, the
I
Kinect,
think
yeah,
it
there
would
we
have
go.
been the same situation where PS would have been more expensive. And I feel like I'm
yeah.
okay with
Yeah,
that.
Okay,
probably.
just
that
asking
payment.
for people here. I mean, I know that most of us, many of us are going to go PlayStation.
Yes.
Yes.
Some of
So
us are
as
gonna
long as they have
get both-
Spider-Man
Some of
2,
us are going to get both of them.
God of War, potential
Yes.
for Bloodborne 2, or
Spider-Man
Demon Souls
2.
remake. Those three
Spider-Man
games
2.
sold it for me already.
But like, are these specs? Are these like things going to change anybody's mind about what console they're going to purchase? Like, if you're going to get
no.
them both anyway, if you're going to get them both anyway, you're going to get them both anyway. If you're only going to go,
Because this,
like, this isn't really changing
So
anybody's.
where it was a GDC talk, I think it was mostly to get developers excited. Like, I can't remember who it was from Naughty Dog. One of the guys from Naughty Dog was saying how excited he was about the SSD. Like, for him, he was like, "Oh, sweet SSD," and everybody's like, "Huh?" Like, Mark Cerny, like people, most people found it quite sort of boring and uninteresting.
I feel like the question Melissa just asked is more like, kind of like the advice we give to people who ask, "Oh, should I get an Xbox or a PS4?" And it's like, well, get whatever appeals to you game wise, if whatever you have more friends on, people to play with, etc. There's like all those factors.
Definitely.
as opposed
Yeah.
to just looking at specs and being like, oh yeah, this and this, like, oh, I'm gonna get this because it's faster speed or
Yeah.
more hard drive and like
Exactly. Yeah. I
stronger
think the developers
power
are
or
also
whatever, like
probably excited about like the possibilities for having like the thing is they're both really good, right? They're both very strong, stronger honestly than I probably expected, and that's good because then like maybe now you have less of issue with porting games. Like there was a big argument that. Well, it's a big argument. I had it with my buddies at a buddy's house. It wasn't there was no news articles written about it, but like about there was a game that was advertised. It was like, oh, it runs at 60 or whatever FPS on both console. But it turned out that what had happened was they had downgraded the resolution on one of the other consoles to reach that frame rate. So it was advertised as being the same, but it really wasn't. Hopefully we'll have more uniform experiences.
man, I couldn't imagine not playing Lego Forza in 60 FPS because that's the only exclusive they have.
Both have the SSD are too similar for most devs. Yeah, and I think that'll be hopefully a good feature. I mean, you want everyone to have the best experience they can, no matter what console they're playing on.
Yes.
Especially for PC gamers have been kind of, I'll say, a bit upset in the past about feeling that attention to consoles has worsened the experience.
To
of their
be fair,
PC
for
ports.
PC, it's like people can run really old rigs and still run most games that better than what consoles can run. So it's like,
oh, I mean, if you want to compare hardware to hardware,
yeah,
certainly
hardware
no contest,
wise,
I think. Melly, I don't have Discord open. Yes. That's the best I can do. Yes. Home of this console generation acts like another crisis moment, and pushes some innovation on graphics and hardware. That's an interesting point, actually. For those who don't know, Crisis is a historical shooter in that it really.
Oh,
pushed
you mean
boundaries
Crisis
at
the
time.
game? You know what's
Yeah,
funny?
yeah.
I bought the first one, but the laptop I was trying to play it on couldn't run it because I think I
course it
needed like 2 gigs of RAM or something, or like 1.5 gigs, and I only had like half.
And Bleeze has a point. I think it's a good point that I mean, the PC high-end gamers, they certainly do get upset, but they do represent a fairly small percentage of the buying game populace for cross-platform games. Crisis was so poorly optimized. I honestly, no offense, I don't think Crisis I didn't find a lot of fun, to be honest, like as a game. Like it was important.
So
but-
when I was younger, I thought it was cool because like you could do so many different things. Like you can go invisible, you can go like super. It was
Yeah.
like you could be like any member of the Justice League by just holding the ring and like choosing whatever one you wanted. It's like, oh, you want super strength? You're Superman now. It's like you want to move hella fast, you're Flash now. Like whatever.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool concept, but like because I couldn't get the game to run, I never got around to like playing
Yeah,
it.
of course.
But
Yeah.
I did see that occasionally have like the triple bundle on sale where like Crisis 1, 2, and 3 are on sale, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I couldn't get these. But then I read all these reviews like, oh, this is shit optimized. So I was like, okay, never mind. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not.
It never sold me for whatever reason. Far Cry is an interesting. Melly, have you played any Far Cry games before?
I have not.
I feel
I
like
have
you
not.
might like them. I mean, you've liked
Yeah,
Ubisoft's
It's-
open world.
Well,
I'm not opposed to it. I just,
they're often just called Skyrim with guns.
before.
Well, no, I actually say it's more like Assassin's Creed with more modern like stuff.
I mean, that sounds like my jam. So I would play it.
The Far Cry 2 is one of the greatest games of all time. Change your mind. I'm not gonna.
Far Cry 2.
Two?
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. I think it's an.
I was gonna
unpopular
say
opinion.
I thought most
but-
people thought 3 was the best.
So here's the thing. So Far Cry has changed a lot in its lifetime. Far Cry 1 was like super experimental, very different. Far Cry 2 was like also very different than what was being released at the time. Far Cry 3 was like, it's sort of like the Resident Evil 4 of Far Cry. So if you've not played Resident Evil, Resident Evil 4 was like, Melly will understand this, of course. It was a game changer for the series. It took it into sort of a new genre than it was in before.
Wait, which one is the Resident Evil 4 of?
It's Far Cry
Franchise?
3.
Far Cry
Far Cry
3.
Far
3.
Cry 3. Okay.
So like it took it into a new place, and a lot of people really liked that place and wanted them to stick with it. But the people who liked the other games were like, "Well, where's my game now?" You know what I mean? Like just fans of like Resident Evil, especially 1 and 2,
Not
but
my
Resident
Far
Evil 4,
Cry.
they were like,
Yeah.
you know, this is great, but like,
And to clarify,
now
we're
the game
being
is this,
the original
you know?
one, not Blood Dragon.
Far Cry 1 was actually made by Crysis Team. It was quite different. Yeah, absolutely. And so for a lot of people, they're like, Far Cry 3, great. Now they've gone with that formula for a little while, and people are like, well, what about Far Cry 1 and 2, you know? Just like some Tomb Raider fans, like, even though I think the Tomb Raider reboot is really good and really
That's
respectful.
free on Steam. I don't know if it
Um,
still is, but it was. I don't know. So
Yeah.
if you guys don't have it, get it. It's free on Steam.
Yeah, which I think it's a great game. But like, it's not quite like old Tomb Raider. So now, as good as it is to have new Tomb Raider and for people to enjoy that, it's kind of sad for the people who only like the old Tomb Raider because they don't have their game anymore. You know what I mean? They don't have their series.
I mean, that's kind of like Assassin's Creed, though, because you're moving from what was 1 and 2 into Odyssey and Origins, where it's like more Witcher-esque.
That's a great example.
RPG.
Assassin's Creed is a great example because a lot of people like the new RPG mechanics, but a lot of people prefer the old linear style.
Because I think I brought this
that's
up on
great. Yeah, it's really
a
good.
previous cast where it was like or no, I think it was on Tiff's stream actually when we were playing the Division. I brought up the post I saw that was like, oh, do you prefer old style Assassin's Creed or the new style? And most people said an old style, which I thought was super interesting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But most people I know prefer new style. But I think that's because, like, Melly, for instance, like, really enjoyed streaming Odyssey. Trev, you enjoyed Odyssey a lot. So did Morgan. I've just started it myself. I'm enjoying it so far, the little bit I've played. I think this group is probably more inclined to play the new ACs.
But I've been playing. I think I've played every single one except for
Oh, damn, really?
Revelation.
And I never played the earlier ones. Like Black Flag was my first one. I never went back and played the earlier Assassin's Creed. So I've only known the newer ones. I've only known the newer ones.
Hmm.
I hear Pepe crying outside my door.
Oh, you were old style. So that's an interesting point, Zippy. You say Far Cry 2 is the RE4. You and me should have a conversation, like a nitpicky conversation about that sometime, actually, because I'm curious to hear what you have to say, like in detail.
Well, please make some better Batman games, and maybe you have more of an opinion.
Oh, I really like Black Flag. Yeah, that was a.
Me and
that
Zippy
was an
have been
interesting
memeing
game.
that we're supposed to do AC co-op like Fridays or whatever.
Oh,
'cause,
for
like,
real?
that's-
Oh, that would be sick.
It was a
I would
meme
watch
because Melissa and Ash would do co-op Witcher streams.
So you guys are gonna have like a competing thing where you
Yes.
like trying to steal viewers.
We're
Okay,
we're
yeah.
we're
like
taking
the
their
concept.
idea of a non-co-op game and making it co-op.
Far Cry New Dawn was the best one. Eric out here.
Is that the latest one?
Letting it be known, he's challenging. Eric's trying to challenge Ray for his crown of most unpopular opinions
Opinions?
ever.
But was that the newest one that was released? Because I know they did 4, Primal, 5.
Yeah, New Dawn is the new one. Yeah.
Okay,
it's like
yeah.
it's like 4 Primal.
Then they did
5,
5, then
New
New
Dawn.
Dawn. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I think that's
didn't they
right,
just
yeah.
announce one at what you call it? I thought they announced another one recently.
That I don't know. Blood Dragon, the best one, is a popular opinion among my group of friends, at least. It's interesting that people consider it sort of its own thing, because for a lot of people it is. Zai agrees, yeah. I think you'll find yourself quite in the majority around here on that one, Eric, actually.
Yeah, as long as Ray's not here, you'll find yourself with the majority of opinions.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Ray out here promoting Stromboli and all of that. You back, Melly?
Yeah, sorry. Pepe was like crying outside the door. I had to get.
Aww.
So for a Twitch thing that has come up recently, I was in Tiff's stream the other day, and they were saying that because of the new increase of trafficking, I guess would be the word.
Yeah.
They've asked streamers to like reduce their like settings and like resolution, bitrate, whatever, because they want to try to fit more people since the whole COVID thing is happening, that they're asking people to step down. I was like, I don't think a lot of these people are actually gonna, because they'll be like, well, I've been doing these settings for all the time or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna lower it just because. And I was like,
Yeah, it's tricky because people are very reluctant to mess with their settings.
Yeah,
not because they don't
you
want to
change
help
one
out, but because
thing
they don't
and
want
it's
to
like
break
fucked
anything.
up.
If you've ever
I
used like
noticed that the
Streamlabs
Twitch
before.
servers were having a really tough time today. I noticed
Yeah.
like in a bunch of streams I was in, like
Because what was it today that Ash's stream crashed, or was that yesterday?
Yeah, crashed today. Yeah.
Because I know some other people still crashed.
And it was not Herc. I remember it was because it wasn't going down for everybody too. Like it just. Hey Pepe.
Oh.
Pepe.
Yeah. Well,
my
I feel
God,
like
Zippy. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are like, this is what works for me, and if I mess with it more, it's gonna undo it, and then if I don't put it back, it's like, that's the sweet spot.
I mean, I'm a bit like that with my streaming, to be honest, and I'm like a tech guy. But streaming is
Yeah.
the one thing that I like. Don't really. I wish I knew more about it, considering that I do it.
I think the only time I changed any setting was because I was streaming once, and Beast kept saying it was like stuttering, like it would pause and then like continue. And then Andrew told me it's because I ran my bitrate at 6,000, which was like insanely high.
Oh,
apparently.
okay.
That's very high.
So then I lowered it to like, I think 3,000 or 4,500, and then it was better for him.
Yeah, Zippy, there's so much streaming knowledge is like passed down from streamer to streamer. Like when I was starting out, like, you know, it was in terms of like the stream settings I was using, it was like Tiff was like my mentor on that side. And in terms of like live things, it was like Trev was my mentor in terms of advising me on things and like, okay, you need to add a gain filter because you're, you know, like talking at negative volume.
I think that's the
and
good
stuff
thing
like
about
that.
like knowing people who do the craft. It's like you won't ever
Definitely.
find yourself in a position where it's like, oh shit, how do I do this?
Yeah, exactly. Documentation, Zippy. What you just use is I'm sure you're aware, a very unpopular word in the world of programmers. I love documentation. I get real nerdy about typesetting things and stuff like that. But I know so many programmers who hate documentation. I did when I was graduating, or I technically I don't have a like computer science undergraduate degree, but when I was doing my last course in it, we had like a team project, and I was assigned to do all the documentation because everyone else hated it so much. Oh, sorry, Morgan. All right.
All right, sorry guys.
Pepe's very upset with me right now. Hold on. I'm gonna get another treat.
Did someone redeem it though?
Yo, I love documentation. Size question, pass the guard or go for the leg lock? I love this random question. So Sai, I would say pass guard. For me personally, I would pass guard. Because I don't feel massively comfortable with my knowledge of like heel hooks, and I you can't tap anybody anymore to a straight ankle lock, so I pass guard. That's what I would do. I like to think that you're getting advice for like you're gonna roll tomorrow or something, and you're like, all right, I'm
He's
gonna
got
farm
a
out this
fight
like,
set up, and he's like, all right.
I'm not good enough to pass. I say screw it, go 50, and you try for like, yeah, okay, sure.
Wait,
yeah. See, I'm
before
way more
you,
comfortable with my guard
if you
pass.
have a fight or know people who are fighting, remind them the 6 feet rule and like to avoid
Yeah,
human
that's true.
contacts.
The real trick to winning the fights is staying away from your opponent right now.
You gotta be a Jedi Master.
Yeah, exactly.
Use your Jedi mind tricks.
Just be like, we do not need
I
to
know
fight.
some of these words. But to be fair, settings are different for everyone depending on their CPU. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And capture cards, like, how much is different? So Trev and Morgan know about this for sure, and probably Melly as well. Like, if someone's using the
internal?
HD60S
Yes.
versus the HD60
See,
Pro, which
Pro.
is the actual one that goes in a PCIe slot, like,
Well, they have two
The-
that go
the
in.
problem-
I think one's a 4K one though, but why you would ever?
Oh,
do that,
really?
I have
There is
no
a
Okay,
4K
idea.
yeah.
one, but I do not have the 4K
Yeah,
one.
why would you need? I don't know why you would need a 4K.
I bet you
one,
have,
but-
Sai. Yeah. That'll do it. I mean, that's the way to test stuff, right? Like, for sure.
Are we going to see a
Oh,
Pepe?
Pepe?
A 4K capture card, Eric. They have.
Yeah.
They have the one that's like you can put in your PCIe slot. And
That's pretty cool. But like troubleshooting for the external ones and the internal ones seems totally different. Like I remember, like,
which is weird because like you'd think it's the same product, just one goes inside your computer as opposed to outside. You would think it'd be the same like fix or like whatever, but it's not.
Yeah.
Mop was actually just having this problem. She couldn't figure out how to get her Elgato to work with her Switch. And Melissa was actually trying to help her out with it, and like I was gonna
I
comment
was like,
saying
because I had
that
this exact problem, except it was like on the PS4.
Morgan streams
the
Switch all
same
the
thing
time.
on PS4.
Yeah, that's so interesting because like it always like the thing that I probably had the least trouble with was streaming on my Switch with my Elgato. That's interesting.
While using the internal one?
Yeah, like using the capture card. Yeah, it's the only capture card that I've had. What in the world are you doing?
If you want to watch someone stream on
Did you
their
really
Switch,
just caster command on my own?
Caster,
watch Morgan.
Caster commanded herself on her own account.
Oh my god.
I don't have my laptop in front of me. I'm sorry.
Ridiculous. Also, I was gonna say, I mean, maybe not stream in 4K, but people could. I mean, it's not like I know much about this, but could you possibly do recording in 4K?
Yeah, I think that's the idea.
Like,
yeah.
say if you just like put it on like
Upload.
YouTube maybe instead of streaming.
But wouldn't most games need to
Wait.
have you allowed to play it at 4K? Because like if you're playing a game, I think most cap out at 1080.
Well, I mean that's a good point too. I guess 4K capture cards are for really, really rich people, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
I guess.
like they have 4K everything. I gotta ask Eric before we're winding down the podcast now. But Eric says pretty jealous of Rory. His government is giving him $2,000 a month. I wasn't aware my government was giving me $2,000 a month. What are you talking about?
We're getting 12. We were getting 1,200.
1,200.
I wasn't aware I was getting anything. Eric,
don't
what's
think
going
it's-
on?
Yeah, I was. Wait, am I
No,
getting
we're just
money?
getting a one time
Yeah,
1,200.
Yeah.
Eric, I guess I'm in America
Wait,
now,
when?
so I've forgotten about Canada. I don't know what's happening there.
When does this happen? How do I qualify?
It's like immediate, right? They're giving the government.
Oh, they
it's a
just
stimulus
announced it
package.
today?
Yeah.
Do I have to be
I mean,
over a
sorry,
certain
apparently-
age?
Apparently, I'm getting paid. I didn't know I'm getting.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
paid,
this
but-
is
If you're
exactly-
a tax-paying American. I think they're giving everybody.
Oh, I have to pay tax. I don't pay taxes.
Wow. This is like this is exactly like that one meme that's like you're getting 2,000.
Oh,
I'm only
from
getting
Where the Millers.
1,200.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you're getting 1,200. I'm only getting this much. You guys are getting paid.
They're pushing to get them the payouts by April 6th.
But wait, Eric, are you saying 2,000?
Eric.
Are you saying 2,000 Canadian dollars? Because that is probably the equivalent to 12,000 American dollars.
Yeah, that would
It's a good point. It's a
that
good
would
point.
be around. Actually,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more, but
I think they're
I could be
pushing
wrong.
for them to be deposited within the next 2 or 3 weeks, but realistically, it's probably gonna be like a month or more.
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. Like when everybody actually gets them.
The psychological effect might be slightly different of the knowledge that you're getting 2,000. It's like a placebo effect. You're like, even
Yeah.
if it's the same amount, you're like, it's like a nice even, like it's like on 1,000. It's like cleanly divisible by
Yeah, no,
1,000.
if that is what it is, if it's giving them 1,200 US dollars, for example, for 4 months every month, that's quite incredible.
Eric
Boy.
Eric drinks one Tim Hortons coffee a few months ago, and now he's got all the knowledge about Canada. It's wild. The
It got transferred to him.
Look,
by
all I'm saying is
the,
once you
uh,
drink Tim Hortons, you transcend being one step more Canadian.
give me more doubles, please, Eric. I once all this chaos is over,
Okay.
you and me are gonna go to Tim Hortons together and
Eric,
hang out.
question: did you get
still
Timbits,
owe-
and did you like them?
I still owe Eric a beer.
Because I had Timbits and I was not impressed.
He did like the coffee. I remember him saying the
The coffee was fine, but like I did
The,
not like Timbits after they were hyped up by like every Canadian I know.
Yeah, fair. And Eric might be from the sort of your
Well, yeah, he's like an
school of
hour
thought
up.
because
So.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Same, Zippy.
I think In and Out. We don't even. Canada doesn't even have In and Out.
In and Out is a West Coast thing.
Yeah, double
okay,
double,
yeah.
animal style.
No, a double is a 2 cream, 2 sugar coffee at Tim Hortons, and it's wonderful.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was saying with the
Wait,
Zippy,
so
I'm
would that
thinking
mean?
your
Wait,
double-double,
would
I'm
that
thinking
mean that In and Out is our Tim Hortons?
Sure. Yeah.
That's it.
So guys, we're gonna wind down the stream here because we've got some stuff to take care of. Me and Morgan have to watch the Great British Baking Show.
I might have some Animal
and Morgan
Crossing
has
as
some
well.
Animal Crossing to play, and I have some Pokemon to play.
We have
In and
furries,
out in
guys.
Canada. Yeah, it's a whole nother place.
Okay,
Yeah.
Bleeze, can I just say that you putting OOT there, I instantly
Ocarina
read
of
that as
Time.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. So
That's like when we
Guys-
abbreviate Fast and Furious to FF. We all
Yep,
think Final
I just read it as
Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
we're gonna be heading off, but
AC is
Uh,
Animal Crossing.
we're not leaving you without your entertainment. We are going to be rating somebody. He is the newest member of our stream team, True Variety. If you don't know about True Variety, look at the little team True Variety there right below the title. Click on that, or rather open it in a new tab because we don't want you to leave. And
Do we have a True Variety command in here?
I don't think
Unless someone
so.
made one, because I made like 2 commands.
Well, that's a no.
Look, I make everything
Okay,
else
yeah.
here, alright? You guys can handle the fucking commands.
I'm the
Uh,
bot.
Hey, I can do it.
where
Wait a minute.
I'm the bot. That's our stream team. It's led by the wonderful Spinachy, probably better known around here as Ash, a friend of ours, who was hanging out here earlier. She might actually still be here lurking. She often lurks in streams.
She's
The other
playing
day, I was like,
Siege right now. I got the thing.
I mentioned her on my stream or something. I mentioned something about Ash, or like shouted her out or something. She's like, "Hey, I'm trying to lurk in here. What are you doing?" Like I'm just like,
I remember that. Yeah, she came out of
I
I
nowhere
like that
and
Wise
was like,
Bot always
what?
calls her out.
yeah.
Calls everybody out.
And so guys, click on that team name. You'll find a bunch of great streamers, but one of them you're going to find is our newest member. His name's not Adam.
Yes, that's very important. I told
He's
everybody
Kilroy
his name was
Killjoy.
Adam, and it was not. And I've met
And then
the
I
guy.
met him, and I started talking to him as Adam, and he was like, "Who are you talking to?" And
There we
so, I got to
And a
message
raid
him
call
about
is
playing Quake
streamers become
Um,
raiders.
Yes.
because I'm trying. I got to bug him to play Quake with me. Hey, guys, if you play
Slash me.
Quake Champions, like message me or something, and like hit me up, and we'll play some Quake Champions together. In the meantime, we're gonna raid Kilroy. He's such an awesome streamer. His stream is like beautiful. It's
it's
He uses
wonderful
a,
world
uh,
of lighting.
Very high
A
quality.
vertical cam too.
Extremely
He does
high
vertical
quality.
cam, which
Yes,
is like
he does.
Yeah.
one of the only other people I've seen to do it.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, and
Yeah.
it's just he uses all the same, like in theory, the same like technical equipment as we all do, but his knowledge of photography and lighting is so
Yes.
good that it looks
Yes.
like he's using a camera that costs $1,000 more than the one I use.
He's also been
Um,
on this cast. He was
He has.
Two
Yo, Zippy,
episodes.
good plan.
last time we had a guest, so not the previous one. That was Megan.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one
he was
before that
recent. And it was a great episode. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Zippy, meet you, Kilroy, Quake champion.
And so absolutely
plan.
give him a follow. He's quite the entertainer. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll hopefully
Yes.
be back next week. And see you guys later.
Take it easy, everybody.
See you guys. And he's called Adam. No.
Bye.